Gritty would be crushing them under his massive feet. Well,
just in a rage room somewhere.
Yeah,
Gritty,
rage room.
just taking them all out.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, we appreciate your time tonight. Enjoy the game and enjoy the rest of the season. Best of luck.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks so much. Kevin Kerr is Flyers reporter for The Athletic. Maple Leafs on the road to face the Flyers. A pretty, I don't know, I think they're a fun, gritty, not to use that word on purpose, but that's the way that Flyers hockey is, right? It's gritty. It's the perfect mascot.
They definitely picked that name for a good reason.
But it's not an easy game ever against these guys.
I do think the fan perspective is an interesting one, specifically for the Flyers, right now, right? Because if you're a hockey fan, do you love watching a Torts team? Mm-hmm. It's not the peak of entertainment generally, but you do like a reset culture. You do like winning, and they're doing more winning than anyone could ever anticipate, at least for this season. So it's kind of the good and the bad, and that's why I'm not really surprised that, hey, it's not everyone's all in, because you do understand what they're doing. They're not in a position they expected to be in or they really want to be, if we're being honest. And if the other shoe drops eventually with Torts, you're not even in the position where you can begin to start winning, right? This isn't a coach say in Washington with Spencer Carberry, who's having some good results early, can grow with the team. Maybe he's the next superstar head coach. There's a shelf life with Torts, so you're still waiting for the next era, to shoot a drop, the next coach to come in where this team actually forms itself. So Kevin Kerr is right to say they're still very far away. If I had to take something and be okay, there may be some trust in Danny Briere doing the right thing, taking this slow, having success despite disbanding at the same time. If you can do those things, generally it means, hey, you're making good decisions and you're well coached and you're well run and everything's working fairly efficiently, and you don't have this dysfunction. But still, Philly's so far away and you're not going to be able to fool those fans.
All right, so we got a couple things to go through. We still have about 20 minutes, a long pregame show for us here. Let's start with the last little bit of time. You were away on the weekend. You didn't miss too much. Leafs haven't played in 4 days. Mm-hmm. They're going to have, as I mentioned a little earlier, 18 games in the next 35 days to conclude the season. So health is important. Your goaltending rotation is important. And they're third in the Atlantic Division right now with 9 points behind the second-place Bruins, which they played twice last week and weren't able to make up any ground, and 8 points ahead of the fourth-place Tampa Bay Lightning. So they're kind of in that mushy middle where it would take something pretty incredible to
move at all,
to move up and to move down, which I guess means that you're going to be watching the Bruins and the Panthers to see how close those two can duke it out, because you're either playing the Bruins or probably the Panthers at this point.
Yeah, most likely it's the Boston Bruins. The Panthers at this point are not running away with the division, but heavy favorites. And it just feels like it's felt the last couple of years where you kind of know where you stand, where you're going to start, and who you're going to play, what city you're going to be in night one.
And that makes this stretch of hockey sometimes a bit dull because you're just waiting to play the Bruins.
And it's not as set in stone, but if you're watching any other team right now and trying to do your own pre-scouts,
awesome,
you're doing the Boston Bruins right now, because that is definitely
Bruins hockey to watch.
the most likely team that they're going to play, and that's a difficult spot. And, we've been talking about, hey, who would you rather play? Well, you'd rather play the Lightning of all the teams you mentioned, but the Panthers are a nightmare. The Bruins have been a nightmare. Either way, you got to kind of pick your poison at that standpoint. But 18 games in the 35 days, I guess not much can change, but it's especially hard, right, to make up that ground when you're playing every night. You have the opportunity to pick up points, but when you're playing and you're having to play all these games back to back and 3 and 4 and 5 and 7, it's really, really difficult to every night put your best foot forward.
Definitely.
And in order to move up, it does feel like that's what the Leafs will have to do. So I guess it's more about process. It's about what the lines look like and what the partnerships look like on the back end specifically. Who's going to play goaltender for you when you're going to start the playoffs? Who's going to play in the big games down the stretch? There are still a lot of things the Maple Leafs have to figure out. Unfortunately, playoff seeding seems to be one that's a little lower on the list of things that would be considered variable.
So the Maple Leafs it's basically a game every other night. And starting tonight will be Ilya Samsonov, and we'll get into the lines in a minute because they're interesting. Mitch Marner is out for a second straight game. It basically was when he missed that net against the Bruins and kind of did this little pirouette and hurt his knee. Second straight game that he's out. But tonight, let's start with Samsonov. So Samsonov starting in goal. Interesting dynamic moving forward because right now it feels that both goalies, I don't know, I think they're pretty neck and neck because Samsonov has come back and been unbelievable since his hiatus, right? Like he has been as good as the Maple Leafs would have needed for this stretch. But Joseph Woll keeps getting these opportunities to play in the big games, which was both Boston Bruins games last week. And I don't know if you believe that they want Joseph Woll to be the starter for game one of the playoffs or they want to keep Ilya Samsonov happy and competitive. But right now, it's going to be very interesting to see how they play the next couple games. So Sammy tonight and then Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, you got the Hurricanes at home at Scotiabank Arena. And then you've got the Flyers again Tuesday and then a back-to-back against the Capitals on Wednesday. So, I mean, let's say Samsonov plays lights out tonight. You know, they lets one in, they win 4-1. Do you play him against the Hurricanes on Saturday night and reward him? Or do you put Joseph Woll in? Because if not, the next game isn't until Tuesday. And that's the beginning of a back-to-back against the same team you just played tonight. I really don't know how they are going to go about this and what message they're trying to send when they do go about this.
Well, I think that's the key part. Like what message is being sent with these decisions and with the reactions, I suppose, to the decisions that are being made. I do think Joseph Woll will start Saturday against Carolina. Like I would be stunned if he didn't. And then you're looking at the Flyers again, right? In the first half of the back-to-back.
Yep.
So if you're if it goes with that cadence and you go back to Samsonov in the last, 10 days, 14 days, you've had 2 cracks at Boston, 2 cracks at Philly, and it would be Samsonov against Philly. And for Boston, it'd be Woll. And that kind of tells you something because those were 4-point games. Those were big games where home ice advantage was theoretically not on the line, but at stake in some way. I think that says a lot. And yet, not that Joseph Woll has played bad. They lost those games. But Ilya Samsonov has given you everything you could possibly ask for pre-Woll's return and certainly after as well. So it's
like how much more can this guy prove before you start to say, okay, yeah, you are number one. And also, how much time do you want to give Joseph Woll to ramp up after an injury, which is important. Yeah. He's your future.
It does feel like that is the number one priority, just not putting too much on Woll's plate. But then how long, and you kind of laid it out, how long can you keep Ilya Samsonov feeling good about himself? Because the psychology of Ilya Samsonov has been one of the primary stories of this entire season. And if he's like, hey, whatever I do is not good enough, if they somehow reach that point, and I don't know how he would draw that conclusion other than maybe listening to this conversation right now, he's probably doing more important things.
I hope so.
I just don't know how long you can keep him going and motivated and giving you what you've gotten.
It's a delicate balance.
It's one of the most fascinating goaltending storylines ever in this city.
And the other thing I'd say is, okay, so Samsonov plays well tonight. When do you reward him and give him the next game? Because if going back and forth is a very nice PR way to do it, but at some point you need to allow a goalie to play 3 games in a row, right? Like tonight, Saturday, and the Flyers again. In any other market or any other team, you run the hot hand until they really do need a break. But right now, it's like one's 60-40, and then one's 55-45, and then one ends up being 40. Like, it's just, they're moving at such small rates. But at some point, I think you need to give a goalie 3 games in a row.
Sure.
But that comes at the expense of either Joseph Woll, who's not going to play much, or Ilya Samsonov, who's not going to play much, and that probably affects his psyche. So lots to...
Another interesting thing is who's making this decision, right? I mean, I guess it comes down to Sheldon Keefe for the most part.
I couldn't tell you,
But Brad Treliving's also involved in these conversations. Brad Treliving came into the season without the internal biases, right? Like Joseph Woll, I drafted him. I oversaw his development.
That's true.
I've built to this point, and I can't wait to put him into a game in a big spot. That's not really what it's like. But I guess the goaltending coach, Curtis Sanford, has survived the Dubas regime, the move from Dubas to Treliving. And I guess his input would be unbelievably important and influential. And if Curtis Sanford's telling Keefe, and maybe Keefe believes it too, that Woll's the guy, we have the best chance with Woll, then I'm sure Treliving and Keefe would be listening to what he's saying. So I guess it does hold over a bit from Dubas. But at the end of the day, I like Treliving and Keefe have to draw their own conclusions as well. And it does feel like everyone's zeroed in on Joseph Woll.
So Samsonov gets to start tonight. We'll focus on the look of these lines because, as we mentioned, Mitch Marner out for the second straight game. Your top line, Justin, Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Yarncrook. Followed by Domi, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes, Kampf, McMahon, McExtension is what I'm calling him, Holberg, Dewar, and Reeves. On the back end, Brody, McCabe, Riley, Lyubushkin, Edmondson, Lilligren. No Benoit again. Samsonov, and Woll. So what stands out to you there?
Oh, it's definitely Lilligren, right?
It's, man, I thought scratching Benoit in Montreal was a tough decision. And I don't know if the way that, and I know you weren't in the city, I didn't know if the reason was because of left-handedness or right-handedness, but it was a tough one.
It does seem like, it's Benoit or Lilligren. And if there's a seniority thing at play, if there's a talent thing at play, I'm not really sure. But I think they are giving the opportunity to Lilligren to at least take it, to have it, to maybe be the first one that gets to, like Joseph Woll, first right to refusal in some way. I don't think he's going to take it. I think they might go back to Benoit eventually. But Lilligren's getting first crack at this. And I don't know if it's the worst thing in the world to give him that.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll keep teeing up Leafs Flyers. We'll give you our player to watch, and he might have just signed a nice, tidy extension. All that to come. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck. .ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like solivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herwin. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Williamsburg Green is everything you want in a community. Enjoy fabulous trails, parks, playgrounds, sports areas, and more. Our beautiful all-brick homes include luxury features you've always dreamed of, even a fully finished lower level. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
From blue bloods to bubble teams, hear your school try to play their way into the NCAA tournament this week on Sirius XM.
Let's go!
Experience the excitement of over 30 men's and women's conference tournaments on your radio and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Buzzer, ball game, Bison are going dancing.
Including the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC on our Power 5 conference channels.
Got it!
For a full schedule of games, go to SiriusXM.com/sports.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey.
We're about to bring the wall right now. Sound the alarm.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs on the road to face the Flyers tonight after a couple days off. One thing that did get done while the Maple Leafs were taking some time for themselves was Bobby McMahon getting an extension, a 2-year, $1.35 per year upgrade. I guess for him, he was making no money. He was like, it's crazy. The story's amazing, guys. Like, I'm so pumped about him. Really excited to see that he gets this opportunity. Just as a reminder, what happened February 13th, he was supposed to be a healthy scratch. Plays because of that illness that went through the entire locker room, gets a hat trick, and hasn't looked back since. And he's been an awesome part of this Maple Leafs team and a really great story. So,
yeah, and a little cost certainty moving forward for Brad Treliving. Not that he was going to play himself way out of this price range, but if Bobby McMahon showed up in the playoffs, helped them win a round or two, I think the price would be a little bit higher. They can definitely afford this. They can definitely use him in the bottom six. I think it's a great move in making sure that Bobby McMahon's part of this team for a couple more years.
So he is our player to watch, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Bobby McMahon or Bobby McStension. Plus 400 for a goal tonight. He's going to be buzzing. He's going to probably have, splurged on a new suit or something, or send some money to his parents, whatever. He's going to be feeling good about himself. Let's get him to put one in the net.
Yeah, and not the opportunity he's had, at least of last week, playing with the likes of John Tavares, but he'll play with Matthew Nyes and David Camp tonight, at least, to start here against the Flyers. But, McMahon might be looking to justify that new deal. Maybe that helps him get on the scoreboard.
Maple Leafs, he'll be on a line with Camp, Nyes, and McMahon. As we mentioned, no Mitch Marner, wondering how that is going to affect his bestie, Austin Matthews.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I heard a lot of people talking and debating this. Is Matthews' production, how tied is it to Mitch Marner? Well, it is and it isn't, right? Like, Mitch Marner's definitely the best distributor on the team, definitely the guy who's jumped in the arms of Austin Matthews many a time after a goal. But Matthews scores no matter who he's playing with, generally. Not lately, but generally. And for that reason, maybe there's a little bit more onus on Matthews to get it done by himself. We'll see what that looks like. But the clock is ticking on that 70-goal mark. He's going to need to be real hot down the stretch
right now?
To do what we expected him to do maybe a couple weeks ago.
Currently, he has 54 goals.
So 16 and 18. Yeah, 16 and 18 was
he could get it done. Did he not get a hat trick last time he played the Flyers?
Oh, you put me on the spot again. 16 of 18 is like
Somebody
kinda,
said that today in the office.
Okay. He was at a 16 of 18 rate at some points this season. So he can definitely do
Isn't
it.
this
He's
why
had
we have Armin?
runs. Yeah, it is why we have
He did
Armin.
get a natural hat trick the last time he played the Flyers.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
to the Twitter account that I just typed in, Matthews Flyers hat trick, and it showed me that. So
Not more reliable than Armin, but also useful.
We're on to something. All right, so Maple Leafs looking to start what will be a lengthy stretch of hockey, looking to get back in to the swing of things. They play a big one tonight. These guys again on Tuesday, so you see lots of Flyers down the stretch. We'll take a quick break because on the other side, you'll hear Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph with the call of the first period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Major League Soccer is back, and you can hear Miami's magisterial one in action on Sirius XM FC. Messi! Whenever Lionel Messi hits a sumptuous pass. Are you kidding me? Scores a world-class goal. Produces a moment of pure magic for Inter Miami. Magisterial, Lionel! You'll hear it on your home for MLS, Sirius XM FC 157, and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
A Leafs Radio Network.
Philadelphia Flyers, a team that they will play twice in the next 3 events for this hockey team. And the
Protectors of the polyester pipes tonight brought to you by Superior Door and Gate Systems, Canada's top choice for automatic doors and security gates, security fencing, and bollards. Because security can only be measured by what it will save you. Ilya Samsonov is 17-5-6 this year, 3.10 is goals against average, but he is 10-1-0 lifetime against the Flyers with a 2.43 goals against average. Samuel Ersson has been the savior for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's 19-13-5, 2.61 is goals against average. He is 0-0-1 lifetime against the Maple Leafs as we are set to start this game from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia as they lean in and the puck is dropped and we are underway. Leafs to the left and the Flyers to the right as it's cleared down into the Philadelphia zone. Pushing it along the boards with Frost to get it ahead, and it's launched high to center ice. Farabee trying to settle it down as it comes onto the left wing side, down into the corner. Morgan Frost getting it back to the point. Fed off on the right wing side, and a long shot in traffic. There's a big rebound, and it's cleared out and down the ice by Toronto. It'll be icing. I want to ask you something, and I actually had to look this up, and I've been reading this. Do you know what a bollard is? Security fencing, security gates, and bollards.
Yeah.
Good.
What is it?
No,
I don't know.
I had no idea. You know what they are? It's, like you get metal poles that kind of block any traffic. Yeah, it's sort of like a tank blockage thing. Keep the armored tanks and everything else from coming in your yard, I guess. I had no idea.
Or keep people from stealing it. Is now
well, that's a good idea, yes. Yeah. Well, we get another icing call here, man. We should get some ballers.
I had no idea.
I had no idea what it was. And I mean, you hear traffic inhibitor, whatever. But no, these are like concrete or metal.
Like posts.
Posts. Yeah,
posts that move.
Yeah. I guess you can take them out if you have to. Otherwise, you just keep them in and no one moves. Boy, that was a lot of important information we just got out there after this. Puck comes back into the center ice area. Konechny gets it up on the right wing side. And a good play made there by McCabe to get it back and knife it around into the near corner. And now Nyes plays to the blue line but doesn't get it ahead for Matthews. Flyers keep it along the boards and into the Toronto zone. It's then punched off the wall and down the ice. And for the fourth straight time, the Leafs are guilty of an icing.
Well, and the fans already in Philadelphia not too impressed with the Leafs here in the early going. And for Austin Matthews, I guess you can say it's a bit of a slump. 2 goals in his last 8 games. But earlier in November, in a 9-game streak where he scored 1 game, October 16th to 31st, he had 1 goal and 7. So he has had these dips before, and you probably know how he comes out of them.
Usually with an explosion. And the whole team had to be running on fumes, you would have thought, with the number of games they had to play in a row as a deflection goes wide of the Toronto goal. John Tortorella not behind the bench, serving the second of 2 game suspension for telling referee Wes McCauley, I ain't leaving. Well, turned out he did. Down into the Flyer zone it goes, around the boards near side. Lilligren with a shot that was well off the mark wide and cleared to the line, but kept in there by Matthews. But now the Flyers are able to push it out at center, and Matthews brings it in on the right wing with a little room, dropping it back, and the Lilligren shot is stopped. There's a rebound. Trying to get his glove on it is Ersson, and it goes into the far corner. Bertuzzi swinging it back along the boards for Nylander. Nylander gets away from one man, cuts to the middle of the ice, got it in front of the net, they score! A tip in front of the goal. Bertuzzi is able to get there after making the initial steal on the boards and then is able to tip it home. And Tyler Bertuzzi, who looked like he had concrete in his gloves the other night, finds a little bit of touch here.
Boy, this is a great play by Austin Matthews. I think Harrison's expecting the one-timer as Willie Nylander controls the puck in the high slot, makes a nice move, dishes it over to Austin Matthews. And Matthews, instead of the big one-timer, spots Bertuzzi backdoor and simply throws it towards the far post, and Bertuzzi deflects it past Harrison. And the Leafs are on the board first with a 1-0 lead. Bertuzzi had gone 5 straight without a goal after scoring 5 in a 3-game stretch, which included a 3-goal game on his birthday in Colorado. But the Leafs, who looked horrid in the first couple of minutes of this game, get some offensive zone time and cash in.
13th of the year. Horrid, I guess, to the point where they iced the puck 4 times, but they were able to get it back, and a great pass by Matthews brings the Leafs into the lead. Laid up on the boards by McCabe. Knifed back in by Owen Tippet. And it's gone up into the screen and out of play. And a face-off is going to come in the Toronto zone.
Well, the New York Islanders with a 5-game winning streak not only scared the Detroit Red Wings and actually have Detroit out of a wild card spot down the Eastern Conference, but right behind the Philadelphia Flyers as well. Philadelphia in their last 12 are just 5-5-2. But that is amazing. You have the 6-game losing streak by the Red Wings and a 5-game winning streak by the Islanders, and in 2 weeks there's 10 points made up.
Brought out at center ice by Domi on the left wing. Works it into the slot for Nylander. A bouncing puck comes back to the blue line. Lyubushkin keeping it alive. Dropping it off for Domi. Domi circles high. Still with it. Faked the shot. Now passes in with a deflection off Nylander. And it went wide of the goal. Lyubushkin trying to keep it in. Was it outside the blue line? No, says the official. Domi unable to get a shot as he had his stick lifted. And Tippett will get it out into neutral ice. Lyubushkin going back into his own zone. 1-0 Toronto on Bertuzzi's 13th goal of the season. Leafs get it back into the Flyer zone. Punched along the boards. Lilligren can't shoot it at the net. Rings the boards with it. Reeves couldn't punch it in front of the net. Pontus Holberg frees it up. Camp keeps it alive along the boards. Reeves gets a hit in on the far side. And the Flyers have it in around back of their own goal. Played ahead now for Igor Zamula, who got it out at center, and it is fired deep into the Toronto end. Edmondson or Lilligren. Lilligren with a pass up the middle that deflects high and into Flyer territory, but too high. And it has sailed into the screen and gone out of play. 16-11 to go here in the first period.
Well, one of the things we do get to vote on, well, the only thing we get to vote on, is Coach of the Year, Jack Adams Award.
You got,
and
who have you got in mind?
Well, I mean, we discussed this before going on the air. Rick Tocchet is very difficult to ignore in Vancouver. And I know you kind of want to get away from, at times, the most improved team with a new coach.
Yep.
Which seems to follow teams around, or the award around. You know, he was asked about goalies playing so much now, and Brodeur played 70-some games in a year for a few years, and he made a great point. He said, I think we give officials players reasons to be tired. He said, look at the pitch count in baseball, 100 pitches. Yep. He said, for years, guys were throwing 140 or 150 when they only had 3 starters. Juan
Marshall went against Born Spawn and went 17 innings, 209 pitches.
And I look at it, I respect, the science of sports and the data and everything else. But I kind of like those stories, too.
Leaf shot from the point was blocked. It's knifed out at center ice. Brought in on the left wing now by Farabee. And his shot from an angle is swallowed up by Ilya Samsonov to bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
You already brought it up, but Samsonov has been on quite a streak. And when you look at Cal Peterson, who's in the Flyers organization, came up in L.A., lost his confidence, game slipped, went to Philadelphia, still in the minors. Actually was recalled earlier this year. Didn't fare well. You look at what's happened to Jack Campbell. And for Ilya Samsonov, I mean, you feel like you've dodged a break. Don't you?
Here's a pass ahead. Knifed in by McMahon into the corner.
So he dodged the bullet, got him.
McMahon trying to push it along the wall. It's played to the blue line and out. And McCabe has to go back to the red line and now works it back to the blue line. Just got it into the Flyer zone. Zamula plays it off the boards to get it out. And the Leafs have to go back to their own blue line, where Bertuzzi will regroup the puck back into his own zone. 1-0 Toronto. A Bertuzzi goal. Matthews had it knocked off his stick, but Bertuzzi is able to get it into the zone. Yarncrook goes into the corner after it. Yarncrook up against the boards, trying to kick it free for Matthews. That didn't work. It comes to the line. Knifed out by Philadelphia and shot right back in again by Toronto. Cam York back of the goal, plays it around the boards out at center. Lyubushkin got it freed up, but it's brought in over the line by Paling. Pass in front of the net. Big save made by Samsonov there. Cleared to the line and just out at center. And knifed in over the line. It's going to be an icing call. So Ilya Samsonov comes up with his first big save of the game, and it comes off Garnet Hathaway.
Garnet Hathaway was one of the Flyers that had a goal in Toronto when the Leafs had a 3-1 lead into the third period. Hathaway made it 3-2 before the Flyers were able to tie it, sent it to overtime before Willie Nylander won it for the Leafs.
I think his chance would have been a lot better if he'd have taken it a little wider.
And yet, I mean, it looked like Samsonov was right with him as we're getting a shot of Ilya Lyubushkin.
Going to the sort of the top of his hip, heading down into the Leaf dressing room. Simon Benoit not dressed tonight. Face off in the circle to the right of Samsonov. Won cleanly by the Flyers, but a shot was deflected in front of the Leaf goal, and then Bertuzzi decided, let's do this all over again, so he slid it back to his netminder, and the face-off will come again in the Toronto zone.
We're watching. It was actually on Garnet Hathaway opportunity further up the ice. Right before that, Ilya Lyubushkin took a hit along the boards. And that was by Noah Cates that I think caught him with a hit along the boards. It didn't look like anything serious, but might have been the moment that Ilya Lyubushkin felt something that wasn't right.
Played out at center ice. Flyers bring it right back into the Toronto zone. Here's Konechny getting a shot away, and the glove of Samsonov will deny that.
One of the reasons John Tortorella was asked about the goaltending and the number of starts and everything is that for Ersson, this is now his 5th straight start and 20th out of the last 23 games. And they talk about fatigue and everything else. I mean, somehow it's become a rule now that goalies can't play the second of back-to-back, so they can't play both.
Now the Flyers cycling the puck in the Toronto zone. Konechny works out of the corner with it. Konechny, the leading point getter for the Flyers, gets the shot, and it was high over top of the Toronto goal. Pushed ahead for Domi, and Domi will send a pass off a body ahead for Nylander. Nylander is bodied. The puck comes free, and it's backhanded high into the Toronto zone, forcing John Tavares back into his own territory, and then he almost lost the handle on the puck, not once but twice, but the Flyers were in the midst of a chain. Leafs with it back in their own zone. Coming out slowly. Up the middle, the pass goes off a skate down into Flyer territory. McMahon, or at least Dewar, in there trying to come up with it. Leafs get their 4th line over the boards here. Pass intercepted and brought out at center ice now, and it is Pontus Holberg hitting the line with Reeves, who takes the drop pass, then got a shot away. A huge rebound, grabbed off again by the Leafs to McCabe. His shot didn't make it through. In along the boards is Holberg. Holberg working it along for Dewar. Dewar works it back to the point. McCabe finds an open man left wing side. Brody taking it wide. Brody looking back at the net, gets it in front of the goal. Reeves got a shot away, but it went off a stick and goes up into the screen. But a nice bit of cycling work done by the Maple Leafs with the final touch there from Reeves, but up into the screen it went. It is a 1-0 Toronto lead on a goal by Bertuzzi. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As U2's history-making residency at the Las Vegas Sphere draws to a close, hear the final performance.
40 nights, every night a surprise. The technology is an aid, but the audience is the key thing.
Along with the story behind it.
It's going to change the way that people enjoy music going forward.
U2 at the Sphere, premiering Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on U2X Radio, Channel 32, and in the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Radio Network.
Lots of juggling with Mitch Marner out of the lineup after twisting a knee or ankle in a game. Where was that? Montreal, I guess.
Boston.
Boston. No, it was Boston. Yeah, right. Yeah, he had the wide open net. Elected not to shoot it in that wide open net. Went around the wide open net. And while trying to make a pass, went over on his right leg or ankle. But played a few shifts after that.
Played 20 minutes on the night.
Yeah.
But where the Leafs are fairly fortunate in where they are, it looks like it's going to be third place. You have the luxury of saying, we're going to rest guys if they're not 100%.
Well, speaking of that, Ilya Lyubushkin is back on the ice. Into the corner it goes for Cates. Cates got it back of the net. Back to the point for Cam York. Flyers play it around the boards, back of the goal for Cates again. Cates gets it dug free, looking for a man in front. Had it off a stick. Leafs aren't able to get it out, though. Al Bertuzzi ties his man up along the boards. Matthews does likewise. Bertuzzi gets it elevated, and it's going to go down the ice, and it is going to just make the again line, and the linesman will call it icing. Tommy Hughes and Killian McNamara, who must be just getting geared up. Maybe he'll get lucky and be able to do a game in Boston and go to Southie for St. Paddy's Day. Carter Sandlak and Chris Rooney are the referees tonight. Morgan Riley back of the Leaf goal, gets it off a puck or off a stick and down the ice, and the Flyers have to go back in their own end. Bertuzzi's goal on the board. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead. Played off the boards to the line. The Leafs come away with it. Here's Tavares working back into the Philadelphia zone. Tried to flip it along the boards for Nylander, who was latched onto. The puck comes to the side of the goal, and the omnipresent Tavares is there whacking at it. But Erson is able to cover up on it and bring a face-off in the Flyer end. It is tough to make any kind of a climb in the National Hockey League to gain a playoff position, but it is really easy to drop out of one of those positions.
Well, like we said with the Islanders, I mean, they make up 10 points in the 5-game span because the Red Wings lost that many. But and that's really the only place it can happen. If you're trying to catch a team that's a few further up,
and you need to be next in line. Because if there's 2 or 3 with you at the same spot, it's like watching your wheels spin in the mud. Puck goes down into the Toronto zone, fed by McCabe around to the far wing for Tavares. Tavares' backhand pass is gobbled up there by Scott Lawton. Got it down into the corner and around on the near side, trying to poke it free, but it goes to Brody. Brody pushes it further along the boards. All of this now with Tavares finally getting to it, and he'll find an opening, and it'll be launched high into neutral ice, and the Flyers have it again. Owen Tippett dropping it back. Shots on goal are favoring Toronto 5-4, and the scoreboard is that one extra shot down into the Toronto zone. Samsonov laid it free, played out at center again, intercepted by the veteran Mark Stahl. The native of Thunder Bay sends it into the Leaf zone. Leafs get it right back out again. Nyes, a nice feed to find Lilligren. Lilligren slides in on the left wing into the corner. Played it back to the point. It'll come to the near side. Edmondson with a shot that deflected, and that went just wide. Now here's Bobby McMahon working around back of the net. Banks it back to Lilligren. Back to Edmondson. Shot coming. It's deflected wide of the goal. Nyes is after it again. Nyes along the boards, leaves it for McMahon. Centering pass, jamming away at it is Camp, but it's covered up by Ersson, and then getting filled in at the side of the net was Nyes. And he is lying on his back, and the referee is pointing over to the circle that the face-off will be over there once you collect your thoughts, your helmet, the rest of your equipment, and you get up.
Boy, the good pressure, though, that we've seen from the third and fourth lines tonight, haven't we? Still halfway through the first period. We saw Bobby McMahon scoring an important goal against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night, as he has had quite the stretch. That broke an 8-game goalless streak. And, of course, he had 7 goals in 5 games before that, including his first NHL hat.
And a shot off the wing scores! Pontus Holberg! The puck went back to the blue line and fed in, and we're talking about third and fourth lines. Well, here's the fourth line chipping in.
Boy, Sheldon Keefe comes right back with the fourth line, and they get a bit of a break. The point shot or pass goes off Duer's skate, then off of Philadelphia's skate, out front to Holberg, who just rifles it past. Ersson on the glove side is let go from the left wing circle. And it was good pressure from the third line, Joe, that had the puck deep and eventually got the offensive zone faceoff. But it's the fourth line that wins the draw and finishes it off to give the Leafs a 2-0 lead here.
Tip down into the Flyer zone. Along the wall, Holberg trying to dig it free. It does come free, and it is Duer trying to get it along the wall. Got it back to the point. Labushkin to the far side off of Riley's skate, and now the Flyers will knock it down into Toronto territory. Labushkin to Riley. Riley does an elusive move in the far corner and skates back to the Toronto goal.
Holberg scores for Toronto. Goal number 4 of the season. The assist goes to Connor Duer.
Duer gets his first point as a Maple Leaf as a result of the Holberg goal, as it is fired down into the Toronto end. A 2-0 Leaf lead midway through period number 1. Played by Cates into the far corner. Bertuzzi works it out at center, and that got it ahead. And Yarncrook trying to steer it in over the line. Had it hit a defenseman. Now a high stick has made contact with it, and the Leafs are going to touch it and bring a face-off back out into the center ice area. Pontus Holberg adds to the Leaf tally, and it is 2-0 Toronto here in the first period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick homes are built with upgraded features and elevated finishes. Chef-inspired kitchens, spa-like en-suites, and a fully finished lower level. Even better, Williamsburg Green has parks, playgrounds, and trails to explore. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
2-minute-truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day, Think 2-minute-truck, 2-minute-truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Go on along with Jim Ralph, and all of a sudden, Armin Zagarian. Boy, talk about having the neighborhood go right down the shooter here as he roars into the booth with us.
We need help.
Well, surely we could have found someone more qualified. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's what he just told me.
Flyers down in the Toronto zone. Centered in front. Big save made by Samsonov. On a pretty feed from in the corner, and the Flyers had a glorious chance. Samsonov has made 2 excellent saves. Now another shot. Samsonov stopped that. McCabe unable to make a play. Down into the corner looking for Konechny in front of the net is Lawton. Lawton works out to the point. Kept in there at the point by Stahl. Stahl along the boards. Konechny was knocked down, and his numerical counterpart, Max Domi, gets it out at center ice.
Boy, that was Ronnie Attar that jumped down from the right point. And had Elias Samsonov to his mercy, but Samsonov stuffs him out.
Played down into the Toronto zone. Edmondson gets it over on the far wing for Lilligren. A long lead pass for Matthews. That's gone astray, and icing is the call. I asked you an important question earlier. Now I'm going to ask you another question, Mr. Ralph. Do you know Chris Falcone?
No.
Famous? Very famous Philadelphian. I believe is from Southie.
Is that the Ty Domi incident?
Uh-huh. That's the guy that got a little water on himself and decided to climb into the lion's den with Ty.
I tell you, I'm more embarrassed that you know who he is by name.
Well, again, that's probably true. But instead of a lawsuit, which Harry Neal was imploring Ty to watch out for at the time, it turned out that Ty did a little off-ice negotiating, brought the whole Falcone family up to a playoff game in Toronto, and buddies for life. Shot deflects wide of the goal. Here's Matthews back of the net. Oh, he's filled in there. Oh, we hear some applause, so obviously there's no penalty on the play. Along the boards it goes to Yarncrook. He's tripped by York. Not as much applause there. Now here's Lilligren with a shot. Scores! Now there's applause, but it's the Leaf fans. Timothy Lilligren with a seeing eye wrist shot. And the Leafs are up 3-0.
Yeah, there was no penalty going to be called when Matthews was filled in behind the bench. And is this Tyler Bertuzzi again, Joe, that maybe redirects this?
Well,
Lilligren lets it go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Lilligren lets it go from the right point. Yeah, this is going 15 feet wide, short side. And, this is an incredible goal. This is a midair deflected slap shot. It's like he's got a T-ball for kids. Puck's going wide, and Bertuzzi actually has to turn and swing at it perfectly to propel it towards the net. And he has his second, and the Leafs are up 3-0.
And the other night, as we said, there was concrete oozing out of his gloves.
He had a tough night Saturday. Now, the Flyers might be looking at this,
hoping that it's a high stick.
Not even close to a high stick icing.
Philadelphia has challenged a missed game stoppage for a hand pass prior to the goal.
All right.
Maybe they can look at the hit on Matthews in behind the net while they're at it. By the way, Brad Shaw is the coach of record for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's coached in Vancouver, Columbus. Long-time teammate in junior hockey. And so far,
somewhere we haven't seen or watching.
Is it maybe on the far boards?
It is. I didn't see it. Matthews just getting crumpled at the end boards. Here's the decision. Or is it? No. False alarm. No, your turn to. Oh, no, you tell it. No, I'm going to tell it.
I think that means they're waving it off, to be honest. There, because this is about resetting the clock, so.
After coach's challenge, it was determined that there was a hand pass. We have no goal.
The finger of the glove touched the puck while after Matthews had been buckled on the end board.
I think it was actually even further over, Joe.
No, it's right here. He gets buckled, he's down, and his hand comes out and touches the puck, and Bertuzzi ends up getting it.
Tell you one thing, you give the Philadelphia Flyers video guys a lot of credit. And the Flyers, I mean, that you're willing to risk. I mean, 3-0 in the first period, you're in trouble anyway. You'd be willing to risk being wrong and being shorthanded again.
Yeah, Leafs get it down into the Flyer zone again. Back to the point. Lyubushkin over on the left wing. Riley with a shot that deflected wide of the net. McMahon couldn't get it. Another collision back of the Flyer goal. And Philadelphia is out into neutral ice, sending it in with Stahl, sending it to the side of the Leaf net. Played back along the boards. It rolled out in front of the net.
Oh,
now we're going to get a penalty. You betcha.
Morgan Riley in front of the Leaf net. And he's laughing because there's a race across the front of the Leaf net. And the Flyer went down, and that's going to be the penalty.
Minor penalty hooking.
And it's going to be a hook. And thanks to video replay, we get to look at it again. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is lifting his stick in front of the net. So Matthews got filled in on a hit from behind in the numbers. No penalty. Goal called back. And then a weak call the other end of the ice.
So the Leafs are a man short. Played around the boards. Flyers will keep it in. Near side now for Cam York to Konechny. Back to York. He bobbled it a bit, got it back for Konechny. Konechny lost the puck, but now unable to make a play with it is Brody, who takes it to the boards, hoping to pin it there for a while, but the Flyers' Frost is able to get it freed up. Morgan Frost to the far wing. Played back along the boards. It'll come back to the point to York, to Frost, to the near side, Konechny. That was stopped. The big rebound played in front. Nylander intercepts that and coolly plays it down into Flyer territory.
Flyers 3 for 29 in their last 10. They are dead last in the NHL in power play proficiency.
Farabee brings it to the Leaf blue line. Played it around to the point, to the near side. It comes back to Frost. His shot. That went off a body and deflects into the corner. Trying to get it back along the boards. They do. Back to the blue line, but it's intercepted and Yarncrook is away. Yarncrook in over the line, looking for a man in the slot, and does. Joel Edmondson, another shot going and went well wide. Flyers trying to trap a couple of Leafs, and Frost brings it back in. He had his stick partially blocked, and then weak shot goes wide, and it's cleared out at center. This should be a high stick.
I think Harrison agreed with it.
Well, if they score here, this is coming back for a look, I gotta believe. Brought to the line and in. It goes down into the side of the Leaf goal. How far back can you go? Back off a stick. The Leafs are going to get to it. Never mind. Played out and down into the Flyer end. Urson punches it up on the wall with a dozen seconds left to go on the penalty. Brought to the line and in now by Lawton. Lawton got it into the slot. Went off Lyubushkin. A centering pass in front. Down is Samsonov. Lawton got it to the net, but there wasn't an awful lot on it. And Samsonov is able to cover up on it and hold for a face-off.
Just 2 seconds left of the Morgan Riley penalty. Even though they're, what's odd is they're dead last in the NHL in the power play.
And on the other side of the coin,
lead the league in shorthanded goals, including one against the Leafs this year. 14 as a team. Remember, Travis Sanheim scored the shorthanded goal that opened the scoring in Toronto.
And overall, the shorthanded goals are not taken into account when you consider what your penalty killing percentage is. They're third in the National Hockey League in penalty killing. You don't think 14 shorthanded goals should be in there somewhere to say, excuse me, that would push you into the #1 spot.
I'm sure there's some data somewhere.
You haven't come up with it yet? Oh.
I set my alarm with my calculator on my computer.
Another shot from outside. And now this time it is Lilligren. The Leafs are up 3-0, and Urson may not see the second period.
Well, Harrison might be asking the officials if he can give him the third goal to Bertuzzi instead of this one. This is just Timothy Lilligren from the high slot crossing the Philadelphia blue line. And I don't know if this goes off a stick or not. Sanheim was there. But this looks like a knuckle puck. Yeah, blocker side on Harrison from long range. And boy, how this game could have changed. Right? You had the goal called back, then you have a Philadelphia power play. But the Leafs survive that and then get a gift to restore their 3-goal lead.
4:16 left to play in the period. The puck in the Toronto zone. Riley lugs it out with a pass for Nylander that was out of his reach. And now Lyubushkin is back in his own zone working with Riley. Down into the flyer end of the rink it goes. Urson punches it around the board. Felix Sandstrom is the backup goaltender. He has played one game this year and is 1-0-0. 2.75 goals against average, and has played against the Leafs and is 0-1 with a 5.00 goals against average in that game. Lilligren with the goal. The Leafs with a 3-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Once a year, the best fantasy baseball analysts get together to compete against each other.
Home run for Mike Trout.
And Fantasy Sports Radio is the only place to hear all the action. Learn winning strategies and player evaluations to help you dominate your league.
You need the blend of predictability and thoughtful risk-taking during the course of a draft.
The Tout Wars American League Auction, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern on Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Kouleas.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Radio Network.
Lilligren gets the goal at 15:39. It's his third. Bertuzzi and Samsonov get the assists on the goal. A knuckle puck that beats Urson.
And one of the things that I like about Simon Benoit in the lineup, Joe, is he stands up at the blue line and forces teams to make plays, either dump it in or try to make a passing play to get around you. There was enough support coming back for the Flyers that they didn't have to collapse and give Timothy Lilligren 25 feet of free ice. Yeah. So everybody backs in on top of the goaltender. It's funny how when it's the opposing team providing the screen, you give the goalie a break, but when it's your own guy, you think he should have had it.
3:40 to play in the period. Flyers will backhand it into the Toronto zone. Brody overskated the puck. Comes back to the point far side, and a long shot drifts well wide of the Leaf goal. And it's grabbed by Reeves and played back to the net for Brody. Brody again engaged in the far corner. Frost working on him. Morgan Frost, the Aurora native, trying to get it freed. Got it back to the point. It comes over on the left wing side for Mark Stahl. His shot is wide of the goal. Dewar on the far side chops at it, does a good job of getting it out. Holberg will provide some forechecking. The Flyers get it to the Leaf line, brought back by Lilligren. Nice pass defeated ahead for David Kemp. Kemp trying to drive, can't get it to the front of the net. Gets it back to the point. Joel Edmondson with a shot, and that deflected wide of the Flyer goal. They'll get it back out into the center ice area, forcing Lilligren back. Lilligren gets it up on the right wing. Nyes' pass goes to Edmondson and now to David Kemp. Kemp into the corner. Ridden in there by Eric Johnson. The puck comes free, but it is stolen back by Philadelphia. And they'll get it out at center and send it high in over the line into the Toronto zone. And played along the boards by Riley, who kind of lost that alley-oop in the light somewhere. Edmondson playing it off the boards to center as McMahon gets it down into the Flyer zone. Brought back now by Sandheim, or by York, who gets it into the Leaf zone. Now into around the corner. A centering pass hits the side of the Leaf goal. Played back up on the wing. York trying to keep it alive. Got it into the corner, but the Leafs have it to Lyubushkin, who gets it ahead for Bertuzzi, who will push it ahead, trying to find Yarncrook. Matthews gets to it first, though, in the far corner. Played it back to the blue line. Fed in again there along the boards by McCabe. Bertuzzi trying to free it up. Has it once more. Got it into the slot area, but Yarncrook unable to get a shot away as it comes to center. Fed right back down the boards, and Bertuzzi's after it quickly. Matthews going to the front of the net to pass in front. And Matthews tipped that. I don't know if Erson got a piece of it or not. But as the puck slides to his goal cage, he's going to cover up on it. Tyler Bertuzzi has just had a whale of a first period.
Yeah, and it was he and Matthews both were in position to receive the pass from Bertuzzi, who looked up, and the puck was on the right wing side, in the right wing boards, and nobody there. So Bertuzzi touches up onside, back into the zone, and the Leafs almost made it 4. Shots on goal are just 9-9, but let's be honest, this is one of those periods where the difference between these two teams is goaltending.
Played down the ice and on net, and Samsonov is going to pad his statistics there by covering up that 85-foot shot.
But he's made, what, 3 or 4 great stops in tight.
Yep.
And Harrison has struggled, and he made a couple of those, but the game was still scoreless.
Ilya Samsonov's save percentage up to .887 for the season. As Nylander gets the puck back in front of the goal and a backhand. And a loose puck to the side of the net. Erson down. Where is it? It's now back of the goal. And the Flyers are able to come out with it.
Boy, Mark Stahl pinched and got burned big time by Nylander.
A long shot, kicked wide of the net. Another shot. Good recovery by Samsonov. He had to get over, get back into position, got square, took it on the chest. Face off in the Leaf zone.
One thing about goaltenders, though, Joe, when you talk about how you like Samsonov squaring up and the rebound control is good, so much of it is the team in front of him. You're saying, okay, everything is going to be right wing, left wing, middle. No backdoor plays. Nobody's going to come in and be able to change the angle and cut to the middle of the ice. Try to clear the traffic in front so you can see point shots. I mean, all those play into how well a goaltender can play, or how much easier you can make it for him.
And it doesn't show up on the scoreboard,
no.
Right? And it is the reason that Lyubushkin and Edmondson were ticketed to come to Toronto. McMahon.
And with all due respect to the likes of Swayman and Allmark in Boston, they play so well defensively in front of them, and that's not taking anything away from their goaltending. But that's a goalie-friendly team.
Yep. Leafs back in their own zone. Final dozen seconds in the period. Lilligren carries it out. Tried to play it ahead. McMahon has gotten it in a little bit deeper. Dewar unable to come up with it. Played back out at center, and the final 2 seconds will tick down. And do I hear some booing from the folks from Southie in Philadelphia? It is 3-0 Toronto after one period of play.
And Harrison may have made his best stop late to keep the game at 3-0, but it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of goaltending change coming up.
12-10. The Flyers outshoot the Maple Leafs in the period, but actually it could have been worse because had the goal not been disallowed for a rather innocent-looking hand pass, it'd be 4-0. 3-0 Toronto. We'll step aside. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert coming along. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's Andy Cohen. Come join me on Radio Andy, your ultimate pop culture destination.
Kick off your mornings with Smith Sisters Live.
Go deep and shallow with me daily on Andy Cohen Live.
Then buckle up because now you can hear 2 hours of me with Jeff Lewis Live and Extended.
The biggest stars stop by the Jess Cagle Show with
Julia Cunningham.
And our all-new reality check lineup with Kiki Monique, Dorinda Medley, and LaKendra Tubes, covering every angle of reality TV. Radio Andy, Sirius XM 102.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Another shot from outside, and now this time it is Lilligren. The Leafs are up 3-0, and Urson may not see the second period.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert here for your intermissions. Maple Leafs lead 3-0 after 20 minutes against the Philadelphia Flyers, and they skated off to booze. Well, if you're the Flyers, it was not a pretty start for them.
No, it wasn't. That was an ugly period. Maybe we shouldn't focus on the Flyers, though, because that was a really good period for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I thought they played really well. Obviously, they could have had 4 goals. Tyler Bertuzzi's second. Well, he had 2 for a brief moment until it was called back on a hand pass. It was just kind of a barrage. Maybe it didn't look like that totally when looking at shots and all that. But Samuel Ersson was bad, and the Maple Leafs took advantage of that, and they were really good offensively in that period. Maybe not full value 3-0, but real good offensively in that period.
I wondered how the Maple Leafs would come out because 4 days off and a road game against the Philadelphia Flyers team is not like, the Saturday night, hockey night in Canada type energy, but they came out with a lot of fierceness, a lot of pizzazz. They had their legs. Like, that's exactly what you'd want from a team that's had a little bit of a break. But traditionally, the Maple Leafs are a bit unpredictable. Sometimes they come after a break and they look sluggish, like they look slow, like they're still back in Toronto and their bags aren't even packed. But today was a really nice start, I think, from top to bottom. That line getting going early, as you mentioned. Bertuzzi, really nice redirection to start the game. Then he has that unbelievable deflection, which gets called back because of a hand pass behind the net, which I think sucks. Like, just if you missed the hand pass, it touched the tips of Austin Matthews' glove, like maybe a piece of string. Unfortunately, that's too much for a hand pass, so the goal was called back. But that might have been one of the nicest deflections I've seen, and he deserved that goal. But anyway, they get one back with Lilligren.
Yeah, I mean, feeding into that uncertainty, I think is, with the Maple Leafs, you don't know what you're going to get from one game to the next, coming home, going on the road. It just seems like it's a moving target. But when you're bringing new lines into the equation, that kind of mucks things up a little bit as well, right? And after last game, the partnership between Tyler Bertuzzi and Austin Matthews was definitely under the microscope because they frankly had a bad game. It didn't work whatsoever. I think they only mustered 2 scoring chances as a line. They did switch up the lines a little bit. They're playing with Calle Yarncrook tonight, and they were a lot better. But more important than that, I mean, Bertuzzi and Matthews together looked like they had more of a connection when they were passing the puck around. Glove or not, it just looked a little fresher. And Tyler Bertuzzi just looked a little bit more comfortable. And I think that's part of it. In order to help Austin Matthews, Bertuzzi has to feel comfortable. It was a narrative leading into this game, and it felt like it was a non-story once you saw them playing together because they looked pretty comfortable out there.
A good goal by Pontus Holberg as well, just in the right spot at the right time, and has a nicely placed shot to get one for him. And then Lilligren, because we've had a lot of chats about Mr. Timothy Lilligren because he just hasn't been himself. He's looking lost. He's looking like he might have been the odd man out at the trade deadline. He's getting another opportunity to play over Simon Benoit, which is upsetting a lot of people. He had that opportunity on Saturday night in Montreal with the French guy in the stands instead of on the ice. But he got a nice goal. It came right down the middle of the ice, right over the blue line, and perfectly placed shot as well. I didn't believe that I would see that from Timothy Lilligren tonight, but maybe he is understanding that you're not getting a lot more chances, right? And this is a team to capitalize. Obviously, he's not a goal scorer in a sense, but good to see him contributing positively to a game because there's been a lot of bad Lilligren highlights floating around, and maybe he's seen them.
Well, here's something Simon Benoit can't do, which is skate through the middle of the ice, take a pass, and rip one past a goaltender. That's just kind of the reality for Simon Benoit.
He can't do it when he's in the stands.
No, but ultimately, what will decide whether it's Benoit or Lilligren will be the play in front of the net, in the corners, whether he can kill plays, whether he can manage bodies appropriately in the defensive zone. Like, that will be the determining factor. But if there's a tie break, well, Lilligren has that, and it's the ability to add a little bit of offense in addition to that puck moving capability. Again, he's got a lot of proof. He hasn't been, he definitely hasn't been the golden child for Sheldon Keefe of late or for the fan base. But if he can play a bit better defensively, be a little stronger in spots, continue to prove it, those moments where he's skating down the middle of the ice and firing one past the goaltender, maybe that helps him win a battle that so far he's the only one getting opportunity on.
Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we have a bit more information on Mitch Marner's injury, a high ankle sprain. But wait, it's not hopefully as bad as Joseph Woll's. But we'll take a quick break. We'll give you all the updates on Marner, who's missing his second consecutive game due to injury. And we'll take a look around the NHL scoreboard. We're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Today, when it comes to following sports, a basic box score just won't cut it. Get the stats behind the stats with NHL Edge. So you won't just see Makar's time on ice. You'll see where he spent it. You won't just know Matthews scored. You'll know how hard he shot it. And you won't just get OV's shot total. You'll know where he shot it from. Even if they're all from the same place. Know more about every stat, every shift, and every star with NHL Edge.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like solivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck, 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Expect to compare and you'll see why it's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Holy Becca! 3 goals! He's tied the game!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs lead 3-0 after 20 minutes in Philadelphia. They don't have Mitch Marner tonight, and they didn't have him on Saturday night against the Montreal Canadiens. And the update is that Mitch Marner suffered a high ankle sprain, but it is believed to be very minor. They got a second opinion to make sure it's managed correctly. Hasn't been on the ice this week, so isn't expected to go by next game, which would be Saturday night. But it is possible they're going to take it easy, take it slow, because obviously we know high ankle sprains can linger. They can be bad, but it's sounding like this is on the better than bad side.
Yeah, probably a minor sprain, minor high ankle sprain, but high ankles always worrisome. Not as bad in hockey because you got the full boot, bad in running sports. But hopefully Mitch Marner is only gone for a week and most of his precautionary because they do need him despite what we saw in the first period.
Let's take a look at what else is going on in the NHL. The NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly.
24 teams in action in the NHL
left you enough time to get through
so a lot to go through, including the Pittsburgh Penguins, who don't have bobbleheads, but they do have a 3-2 lead over the San Jose Sharks. It's 1-0 Columbus over Ottawa in the second period. Islanders and Sabres, it's 3-0 Buffalo late in the second. 3-0 Hurricanes over Panthers right now, late second. Evgeny Kuznetsov with a goal in that one. 2-1 Rangers leading the Lightning. It's 1-1 Bruins Canadiens, end of two. Coyotes 2-1 over the Red Wings right now, who are struggling or at the late stages of the second period, rather. Devils are trailing the Stars 2-1. It's 1-0 Wild over the Ducks nearing the end of the first period. And still to come tonight, Golden Knights and Flames and Capitals and Kraken.
All right, Maple Leafs up 3-0 here against the Philadelphia Flyers. Bertuzzi had a goal, he had an assist, and a call a goal called back because of a hand pass, but it's been Maple Leafs from start to finish in that period.
And that's not the first one for Tyler Bertuzzi. It wasn't when he was like going through the worst of his struggles this year for Toronto. But late January, he had one called back that just didn't seem fair, and I guess that one was fair because it was a hand pass.
No.
But 2 goals taken back for Tyler Bertuzzi in a year where he's snake bitten. It just crumbles that way sometimes.
We need justice for Sudbury.
He's turning it on a little
There's
bit.
still 40 minutes. I feel like he's going to get another one.
You were saying hat trick when that second one went in.
Well, maybe I jinxed it. Sorry, folks. Lots of time left. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call of the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
If it's happening in baseball,
baseball's biggest stars are on MLB Network Radio. Captain Aaron Judge.
Oh, we're excited. It's an exciting time. This is what it's about with the Yankees. When you play with the Yankees, man, you play with the best. And, we went out there and we got the best.
Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr.
This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be for the long term, and I'm really looking forward to what's to come for sure.
If you missed your team stop on the spring training tour or any of our other interviews from camp, listen back on the all-new and improved SiriusXM app. Just search Spring Training.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
We have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on SiriusXM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Radio Network.
Leafs lead 3-0 after the first period, which was brought to you by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly.
This opening period felt a lot like the game in Vegas, didn't it? Where you had a lot of the other guys contributing offensively.
And I was right that Urson wouldn't last into the second period. Felix Sandstrom has taken over in goal for the Flyers. And you can start the discussion now that Urson has played too much and is probably tired.
No, you can't.
Well, it's too late. We already talked about it in the first period, and the coach didn't think that was a fact.
Goal number 32, Felix Sandstrom.
So Sandstrom is in goal. As it's played into his zone, he's out of the net to scoop it along the boards to the far side. Flyers are unable to clear. It's played around back of the Flyer net near corner. Nyes couldn't track it down. Neither could Bobby McMahon. McMahon against the boards back of the net, though. Got it into the corner. Nyes runs into his man as it comes back to the point. And a shot is blocked, and it's pushed ahead and trying to break through. And in on goal was Gurianov, and he had it lifted away from him. All of the time he had to spend in the defensive zone really took his legs away from him, and when he had a chance to really kind of accelerate and break through the Leaf tandem on defense, he really didn't have much gas. And a pretty good play on the back check by Lyubushkin.
Yeah, Lyubushkin was the one that was able to get back. He's the one who had his shot blocked. Or no, I guess... My apologies. It was Riley and Lyubushkin that were back. Shot was blocked from the right point. And both Riley and Lyubushkin were able to get back, but I believe it was 46 Lyubushkin that was able to lift the stick at the last minute.
Brody sends the puck down into Flyer territory, but a whistle here on an offside, I believe. Or is it icing? Officials, linesman's arm was up. Looks like everybody's skating back into the Leaf defensive zone. And it is an icing call.
Flyers trying to make the postseason for the first time in 4 years. The 8 years before that, they were miss in. Off and on for 8 years. So that's probably the reason they didn't get the rebuild, or when you feel like you're close enough that you can add a few.
Shot goes into the screen, which forces another face-off in the Toronto zone.
By the way, for the goaltender Felix Sandstrom, this is his 28th appearance over the last 3 years.
Played out at center ice and a long feed. Knocks to the line. Yarncrook goes into the forecheck. Sandstrom plays it up on the wing. And it'll be played to the line, but out. And now here's Philadelphia working in on the left wing. Paling gets into the corner, coming out of the corner with a pass. And that was deflected into the corner, and a tripping call against the Maple Leafs will come here.
And I believe Jake McCabe took down Ryan Paling on the left wing boards.
Number 22, minor penalty tripping.
That's a trip. Second power play of the night for the Philadelphia Flyers.
1:29 into the second period. And the Leafs are a man short for the second time in the game.
And the Flyers are going on the pizza power play.
Face off in the Toronto zone, controlled by Philadelphia. Tippet on the right point, drops it back now to Cam York. Back into the corner to Tippet, centering pass into the slot. Frost gets a one-timer away, but it's wide. The rebound scores. Tippet gets the rebound. Lyubushkin looked like he was going to get a stick on it, but it bounced over his stick right on to the Flyers' Tippet, and he breaks the ice, and it's 3-1.
Huge face-off win by the Flyers here on the power play. Yeah, Morgan Frost, middle of the ice. I think his shot, Joe, gets redirected off his skate, then off the backboards and out near side.
Hit the side of the net, I think, maybe, Ralphie.
And then Tippet just rifles it before Ilya Samsonov can get back. And Philadelphia's on the board, and plenty of time left in this game. Flyers were down 3-1 in Toronto. Scored 2 goals late in the third period to force overtime.
24th goal of the season for Tippet, and it is cleared into the crowd. All of the Leafs are pointing, and it may, in fact, be Sean Couturier, who has a delay of game penalty coming up here. So the Maple Leafs are going to go to the power play with an attempt to equalize what just happened.
Said the Flyers are 32nd in the penalty kill, but number 3, or 32nd on the power play, but number 3 in the penalty kill. Although they've killed just 4 for 9 in the last 2 games coming into this one.
But they have the leading number of shorthanded goals, and Riley has to be careful here. A bouncing puck in the center ice area, and Riley now with it at the blue line, dropping it back. Brought on by Matthews. Matthews slides to the right wing side, dropped it for Nylander. Nylander got it to the line, but didn't get it into the zone. Now Riley trying to just get it in, and does to Tavares. Back along the boards for Riley. Riley trying to free it up. Played by Yarncrook to the far wing. Nylander with a little stutter step there to protect it nicely and get it back to the blue line. Riley walks the line on the right side for Nylander. He won't shoot it. Back it goes to Riley. Now to Matthews. Left wing side. Tried to center. That was knocked away. Knocked away again and controlled by Nylander. Trying to center in front. And being tackled there was Yarncrook. Back to the blue line. Matthews with a shot. And that caromed off a leg and went wide. Tavares. Far side Matthews. Now to Riley. Riley walks and drops it for Matthews. Top of the circles. The pass goes off a leg. No way of getting it through there. Centering pass in front. Yarncrook couldn't get his stick on it. Riley to Matthews again. Top of the circle and back pass, a shot, and a glove save made by Sandstrom. Tavares in front of the net. Or actually, no, I think it is Yarncrook in front of the net is really getting the business here.
And now Hathaway now they're going after Matthews. Hathaway's grabbing Matthews from behind.
Paling is in there as well, but I think it's Yarncrook at the bottom of the pile.
Now Hathaway, I mean, this is deliberate. You target Austin Matthews after the whistle, go after him, and now is nose to nose with him. I don't think anything is going to come of this. Boy, what a save, though, by Sandstrom, wasn't it? On the one-timer by Morgan Riley.
Hathaway got beaten badly on the fake shot. And
I don't know how Hathaway does it. Look like, was he missing a skate blade? He looked like he was.
He is. Yeah, sure he is.
Yeah. Now would have been a good time to drop the gloves with him, wouldn't it? Come on, Tanya.
Here, I thought he got faked out badly. He just couldn't do anything. Except then when the scrum started, all of a sudden he had his balance back. I think he lost the blade in the collision with Yarncrook.
Yeah, that would have been the perfect time to drop him.
Yeah. See you fight on one leg.
Yep. Hathaway.
Boy, we see this a lot, though.
Pretty tough customer. Oh, yeah. Don't we? Labushkin we saw in Montreal Saturday. Lost his skate blade.
Face-off is controlled by the Flyers. Then the Leafs are able to push it in a little bit deeper, but Philadelphia has control and rings it around the boards. McMahon couldn't block it to keep it in. Leafs have to go back to center to regroup, and they do that with Lilligren turning back in his own zone. Lilligren coming out. Couldn't get it freed up. Brought on by McMahon. 16 seconds in the penalty. Bertuzzi gets it into the slot area, and a shot hits the goalpost. The rebound in front of the goal, and it's knocked away by the Flyers. The Leafs come away with it again, though. Here's Nyes working it back to the point. Slid into the corner off a stick to Nyes to the side of the goal, and Sandstrom gets a glove on it.
Boy, I want to see a replay of this. I thought that puck may have been in under the crossbar, but the Leafs don't react to it. And we're going to take a look at it now.
Nope.
Where does it hit? Right off the middle of the crossbar.
Right off the middle of the bar.
Boy, middle of the net. That's why I thought it was maybe up under the bar and came out, because that shot from the right point hit almost the dead center of the net on the crossbar.
Max Domi. We were talking about his dad, Ty, and the situation in the penalty box as the Flyers have killed off the penalty. And now get the puck out at center. A pass in on the right side. Brink gets it to the line, but the Leafs are able to steal it and send it back into Philadelphia territory, forcing Eric Johnson back. And Johnson starts out of his own zone. Johnson gives it off to defense partner Zamula, and they'll play it in on the right side. Brink gets it free, and the shot went wide of the net as Joel Farabee let it go. Puck in along the boards. Got it ahead for Holberg. Holberg for Dewar. Played down into the Flyer zone. Reeves into the forecheck there. Dewar trying to help out. Reeves has got his stick tied up with the Philadelphia player Zamula and can't kind of get it extricated. Now it's up against the boards, and Reeves gets it back to the blue line. Edmondson to the far side. Lilligren back for Dewar. Dewar into the corner for Pontus Holmberg to Reeves. Reeves up against the inboards. The fourth line trying to do what it should do, and that is do a good job forechecking here and keep the puck in the Flyer end, and it is finally launched high to the Toronto blue line. Leafs get it back again. Here's Reeves with skating room in over the line, dropping for Tavares. A shot blocked away by Sandstrom. Back of the net it goes. Nylander got it in front of the net. Tavares with a quick shot that went off a leg and wide. Riley getting it back to the goal. Tavares after it again. John Tavares trying to get it in front. Two out covered. Goes back into the corner after it. Battles with Eric Johnson there. Domi trying to help out. Nylander got it freed up for him into the near corner. Nylander to Domi, back to the blue line, Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin to Nylander, curling into the slot area. Pass in front of the net, Tavares. Oh, what a save by Sandstrom's left leg. John Tavares is robbed. Kept alive by Toronto, though. Down into the corner, and the Leafs are going to try to change. The Flyers just need to get it out. And it'll be pushed into the Flyer bench, but John Tavares robbed by Felix Sandstrom's left leg.
Yeah, there were a couple of opportunities. The first one might have been deflected off a Flyer's stick, and then it was Tavares got the rebound and couldn't get it to go.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why they've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
4-0 Toronto! Holy mackerel, what a period!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
3-1, the Leafs with the lead. And John Tavares, who became the 14th time that he has scored 20 goals in a season. And only 6 other active players have as many 20-goal seasons. Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane, Joe Pavelski, Malkin, and Steven Stamkos. Played down into the Flyer zone, and then it's cleared into the Toronto bench, and Yarncrook is down on the ice and not getting up.
Boy, he's in trouble. And judging by the fact that we've got a scrum now, there might have been a hit. There's Yarncrook. Yeah, this is down on both knees. All the way out. The Leaf trainer is on the ice tending to him, but it looks like he's having trouble getting to his feet.
He pushed from behind and he crashes into the boards.
Oh, that was shoulder first, wasn't it?
Shoulder and head. He was diving for a puck. Kind of an innocent play. It certainly doesn't look like it's dirty by any stretch of the imagination. Cam York. And Yarncrook is going off. And that left arm or shoulder seems to be what is bothering him more than anything. No.
Again, when you start looking at, all that, the extra guys you have, and who do you put in, who do you match with who do you take out? Sometimes this game has a way of making those decisions for you, doesn't it?
It always does. And everybody said, well, why isn't he playing? Why isn't he playing? And then all of a sudden, well, now he has to play.
Just wait.
Yeah. Just wait.
Whether it's Nick Robertson or Noah Gregor.
Yeah. Well, now, Yarncrook joins Marner as far as injured forwards are concerned. Now brought in over the line by the Flyers. Paling got it into the open corner, but Matthews is there to quickly get it on to Riley, who skates to center. Riley got it to the line. Bertuzzi was close to being offside. Puck down into the corner and launched by York off the boards. And the Flyers will get it out and into center ice. Grabbed off there and played to the Toronto blue line, but the Leafs are able to steal it back. And Riley has it in his own zone with the delayed offside and some time to work it out. Played deep into Flyer territory. Adder tried to work it into the corner, grabbed off by the Leafs fourth line now. Back of the net for Dewar. Dewar got it in front. Reeves is there, and a shot was deflected wide of the net. Puck on the left wing side. Joel Edmondson dropping it back to the point. Dewar with a shot that went off a body, and the Flyers are able to break it out at center with Konechny. Sending a diagonal, shoot it into the left wing corner. Knifed around back of the net. Leafs are there. Lilligren trying to play it along the boards. Cut off by Lawton. Lawton got it back up on the wing, and a pass in front of the net bounces over the stick of Lawton now. Lawton pushed back towards the Leaf blue line, but keeps it in. Edmondson pinning his man. Puck is corralled there by Connor Dewar, and he makes sure it gets out.
Boy, a small but important play, right? Edmondson takes his man to the corner. Leafs get control of the puck, flip it out.
And don't ice it. Brought on by Camp. Camp to the line and in, dropping for Nyes. Nyes left wing side. Now circles the goal. Tried to center in front of the net. That was knocked down. Nyes was blasted there by Zamula. And now the Flyers get it out, but Konechny couldn't pick it up to his stick. And the Leafs get it back again, and Brody will launch it back deep into Flyer territory. Philadelphia has scored in the second period after the Leafs built a nice 3-0 lead in the first. Back to the blue line, just kept in. Brody on the left wing side fakes the shot. Brody got his defenseman to go down and then was looking in front of the net, but couldn't find McMahon. McMahon into the corner. McMahon tries to center, and it's knocked away and cleared to center ice. Sent out a tweet that good things happen to good people. You like to see that. Bobby McMahon, who has taken a circuitous route to get to the National Hockey League, was an unrestricted free agent after this year. No longer, as he inks a multi-year deal with the Maple Leafs.
Good for the Leafs to get him locked up for the number they were able to get him at, because I think there might have been some interest in the free agent market for McMahon.
Sandheim getting it down into the into the Leaf zone for the Flyers. Couturier tries to send it in front of the net, and a shot that went off a stick wide. Sandheim sends it down into the corner, cut off by Tavares, and the Maple Leafs are going to get it high into neutral ice, and the Flyers waiting patiently for people to get onside, and a shot stopped by Samsonov off the stick of Couturier. Now into the slot again, and a shot. Samsonov has it in his glove, and as much as trying to pry it free there with Lyubushkin helping, Samsonov is able to stop play and bring a face-off with 9:55 to play in the period in the Toronto zone. It is 3-1 Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Their voices defined pop music and pop culture for the past 5 decades. In celebration of Women's History Month, the Billboard Women of Pop Top 1000 Countdown. The Her Story of the Pop Charts. For a limited time on Channel 79 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season, and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Yeah, a little fun with reminiscing about Ty Domi and the situation in the penalty box. Max Domi, one of his idols is Bobby Clarke. Now, Bobby Clarke is a hard-nosed center iceman who could score and stuck his nose in everywhere, but Bobby Clarke has battled diabetes all his life. And Max Domi, while a young man, as a shot here is smothered by Samsonov, had to battle that through junior hockey and the realization that what went into his body had to be really, really cracked and make sure that his sugar levels and everything else were under control. And it has been I guess in some instances, obviously a curse, but in some instances a bit of a blessing, because he has really had to watch what he does as far as his body is concerned, as to get an offside at the Flyer diet, and conditioning and everything else. And at a very young age, he was forced to do this on not only a day-to-day basis, an hour-to-hour basis.
Bobby Clarke, I don't think there's anybody tougher. I mean, you talk about pound for pound. At first, when you started to say that he was a big fan of Bobby Clarke, I'm saying, never saw him play. Max was born about 20 years later after Bobby Clarke retired. Of course, Clarke would go on to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers for years after as well.
No, I think Matt Sundin took over that mentorship role of idolization for the young Max Domi while he was in Toronto. Down into the zone it goes, and Leafs get a break here on an icing as Joel Edmondson took a swipe at it and missed, and it went down the ice for icing.
Now, I haven't done the research on it. I was thinking about it coming to the game. How many goalies can you name that played for the Leafs and the Philadelphia Flyers?
Well, the two, Pavel and Perron. Let's start there.
Yeah, you throw another one from that era in as well. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, yes. Bruce Campbell had a heart attack while he was playing for the Flyers, shook it off and finished the game. We were a little tougher back then.
Yeah.
Down into the corner, Flyers along the boards trying to pry it free, but Matthews is there to get it back to the point. Lilligren to Riley. Riley holds, sends it down around back of the net. Pontus Holberg on the line here now. Here's Matthews curling out. Matthews still with it. Back to the point. Lilligren. Lilligren to Riley. Riley with a shot. That's blocked in front. The chip in front of the goal, and a shot was sent wide of the net by Bertuzzi. Holberg and Bertuzzi after it. Back to the blue line it comes. Brody able to keep it alive. Leafs get it back to the point. A shot by Matthews is off the stick and into the screen with 8:35 to play in the second period. And Pontus Holberg taking a turn on the wing with Matthews and Bertuzzi.
Yeah, Yarncrook still has not returned to the Leaf bench after leaving earlier in the period. You like Holberg, though. A little bit of traffic in front. Some good battles. But the Leafs have not been able to beat Felix Sandstrom since starting this second period for the Flyers. So Philadelphia not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Mark LaForce was another one I thought of.
All right. Trees. Back to the blue line. Brody over on the far side. It comes in front of the net for Neil. It was nice. Let me try that again. Nylander, and it was stopped by Sandstrom. Kept alive by Tavares. Tavares around back of the net. Now has it knocked into the corner. Played up on the wing. Brody thinks better of trying to pinch, but it's down into the Leaf zone. And McCabe back along the boards gets it around into the far side, and Brody will chase after it as it comes free to Nylander. Nylander to McCabe. Jake McCabe to the line and in. Off on the right wing side. Tavares holds. Swung it around back of the net. No one there. Nylander unable to get to it. And Zamula now for the Flyers will free it up. Played out into the center ice zone. Philadelphia crossed the line. Konechny trying to find a man in front of the net. Driving the goal was Owen Tippett, but it was played wide. Then turned over. Here are the Flyers back in business, and Frost tried to make a stop move and had it knocked off his stick. Addard to the far side. Pushed ahead for Bobby Brink. Brink taken to the boards there by Lilligren. Puck turned over, and the Leafs were able to skate it out. Played up ahead there by Dewar, who was stood up in his tracks with a pretty good hit. Played down into the corner then. Dewar goes in there after it. So does Reeves. Back of the net. McMahon getting it along the boards to the far side. Dewar able to knock it free. Here's McMahon, kind of one-handed over for Morgan Riley, who had crept in, but it is played by the Flyers to center ice and down into the Toronto zone. Camp goes around back of the net, fed it off on the wing and gets a return pass, and lost it at the Flyer blue line. Chip back into center ice. Camp against the boards, trying to free it up, and it's played back into the Toronto zone. 3-1. Maple Leafs here in the second period. 6.5 minutes to go. Down into the corner for Nyes. And a glove or a hand pass detected this time by the officiating crew. We'll stop play.
6:25 to go here in the second period. Leafs holding on to the 3-1 lead. Yeah, beyond going back, goaltenders that have played for both the Leafs and Philadelphia Flyers, I'm sure there's somebody who's going to point out some other obvious ones.
Of course, the initial two, Bernie Perrant and Doug Favell, were such a big story for both franchises.
Niagara Falls Flyers of the Ontario League.
Yep.
And then were eventually traded for each other. That's how Doug Favell ended up in Toronto.
Centering pass comes to the side of the Leaf goal. There's a big scramble and a banging away at it, and everybody's pushing and shoving. Samsonov is down, and Hathaway is in the middle of it. His skates are working this time, but right now he has got a hammerlock on him. I think that's Jake McCabe, who's got him in the hammerlock and has him down on the ice.
Well, and Hathaway was trying to get up and go after somebody, wasn't he? But Jake McCabe, I mean, this was a scrum that went in for a long time. I'll tell you one thing, I give that official credit. I don't know how you find that puck free with 500 guys in the blue paint.
Samsonov ended up on his back, facing the wrong way, looking at the referee, and says, "Hey, would you blow the whistle? It's under me somewhere." He finally did.
I mean, he must have had a different view. We're looking at the overhead now in the replay. And you don't see
I don't know where the puck is. No, never did see it.
We've seen early whistles.
Lead pass at center. Holberg got it over the line and got free, and now goes to the front of the net. Oh, and Matthews fanned on a one-timer from the far side.
That might have rolled on him, Joe.
He doesn't miss those very often, but a nice setup nonetheless by Pontus Holberg. Rink wide for Matthews. Gains the zone. Works it in with a shot and went high over top of the Flyer net. 5.5 minutes to play in the period. Here the Flyers working back into the Toronto zone. Played it off on the wing. That got away from Gurianov. It goes around back of the net. Played back to the point. Fed off on the near side for Adard. His shot was well wide of the net. Bobby McMahon couldn't get to it on the left wing side. Flyers with it trying to center. Go off a skate with it. Lilligren carries back into the corner, but here's Gurianov with it again. Gurianov sends it back from whence it came. And it is Lilligren lifted off his skates. Played around the boards, but not out. Adard with a long shot that went wide of the Toronto goal. McMahon can't punch it out. Flyers with good pressure here and a shot. That got through, and Samsonov had to make a pretty good save with it. Up on the wall now. Here's the Leafs finally. Dewar can't get it out. Played to the near side, and a penalty coming to Toronto after all of this. Stahl in the corner. Plays it along the boards. Flyers still with it as it comes back to the blue line. Here's Konechny. He was upended there by McMahon, who's dead dog tired. Sandheim off on the right wing side. Long siege here for the Maple Leaf defenders. Pass to the near side. Back to the point it comes. Zamola to the right wing side. Konechny, left wing side. Wrist shot coming. Blocked. Rebound. Touch. Thrown aside. Finally touched and finally whistled down.
And it's going to be a tripping call. And who is it? Is it Bobby McMahon going to take this?
No idea. We'll figure it out when we come back. It is 3-1, and the Flyers have scored on their last power play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Experience a new level of luxury at Williamsburg Green. Your new single-family home will have all the modern features you dream about, even a fully finished lower level. Kitchener's newest master plan community with bike trails, parks, and a new library. Williamsburg Green has it all. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Take two-man-truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two-man-truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, two-men-in-a-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
John Tavares set up by Willie. The Leafs win it in overtime.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs a man short. Want to wish the U13 Whitby, Ontario Player Development Soccer Team luck. They're down in Philadelphia playing in New Jersey this weekend. And a good friend of mine, Eric Goodwin's daughter, Georgia, is part of the group, and they're at the game tonight. Leafs lose the draw, and the shot deflects off a leg and goes well wide of the net. Into the corner, Flyers with it. Frost gets it back to the point. York back on the wing, and a shot, pad save, rebound! Tipped in front of the goal there by Farabee, and it goes high and ends up bouncing off the roof of the net. Frost goes back into his own zone.
That may not be the worst power play in the league by the time we're done here.
1 for 2 on the night. Flyers are back into the attack and into the Leafs zone. Frost loses the puck, but then unable to clear it was Nylander. It's played around back of the net. Farabee to the right wing side. Tippet got it around back of the Toronto goal. Brody ties his man up, got it freed up, and David Camp will waste no time sending it off the boards out and down the ice. Those are the little details that Willie Nylander, if he's going to be a defensive responsibility, and especially on the penalty kill. He had a chance to clear and then didn't get enough. Now the Leafs are going to get a power play here as Lyubushkin gets it down into the offensive zone.
This is going to be a hook as well.
So that will even up the manpower situation.
And I believe that's Bobby Brink is going on for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we're going to play 4-on-4 for 44 seconds, barring any more penalties. This was brief that the hook got up and caught Lyubushkin. But yeah, you know what happened is Ilya Samsonov, the play you were talking about, Joe, stopped the first one, but the rebound came out. And Joel Farabee chipped it up high, but I think it just caught the top of Ilya Samsonov's right pad, fluttered over top of the crossbar.
Face off to the right in the Flyer zone. 4-on-4 for 44 seconds. And the Flyers control the face-off, and it's around back of their goal. A 3-1 Toronto lead. Flyers come through neutral ice with Konechny, who is stripped of the puck by Domi. But Domi plays it back, or goes back into the zone, and trapped in there was Scott Lawton. Now the Leafs with the lead pass, getting it down into the zone. Nyes tries to go after it, poked back to the net by Eric Johnson. Johnson challenged there by Domi, but gets it back of the net. Zamula waiting to start out for Philadelphia, who will be a man short here in 3 seconds' time. Brought in with a pass on the left wing, and just failing to connect that was Paling. Now the Leafs have the power play, and Nylander is striding out at center. Nylander hits the line, still with the puck, flipped it in, trying to drive with Matthews, and a centering pass, and there was no one there, or it may have been headed back to the blue line, but picked off by one of 3 Flyers who was in better position.
Feel a lot better if the Leafs could have another one here, wouldn't you?
Here's Riley dropping it back into the Toronto zone for Nylander. Nylander through center, hits the line. Pass on the wing, intercepted though by Garnet Hathaway. Hathaway gets back into the Toronto zone, had it knocked away, and now Nylander will find John Tavares, who drops it off for Matthews. Half a minute to go in the power play, and the Leafs have not had any setup in the offensive zone. A drop pass finds Nylander, who is able to carry in to Tavares. Dropped it back for Morgan Riley. His feed into the far corner was off a body, and it's played back at center by Noah Cates and down into the Toronto end again. Penalty has just 12 seconds to go in it. Riley getting it ahead. Tavares rushing it out for Matthews. Left wing side, Bertuzzi with less than a minute to go in the period. Dropped along on a shot for Tavares, goes off his stick and goes wide. Played back towards the blue line, kept in by McCabe momentarily, but brought out at center ice now by the Flyers. And it'll be Brink out of the penalty box, getting it down into the Toronto end. Brody back of the net. McCabe and Brody run into a traffic jam back there. Brody poking it along the boards. McCabe can't get to it cleanly. David Camp does well to carry into the corner, but the puck comes free, bouncing towards the Leaf goal. And it is Camp getting it up on the wing, but a broken stick gets in the way with 15 seconds. And Tavares, who's been out there a long time, finally gets it ahead to Bertuzzi, and he'll launch it into Flyer territory with 6 seconds left.
Yeah, both of them closing in on a 2-minute shift there.
Puck in the Flyer zone as the horn goes. So after a 3-0 lead built in the first period, the Leafs surrender a power play goal to Owen Tippett. But at the end of 40 minutes, it's still a 2-goal lead. It's 3-1.
Yeah, you still feel the Leafs might need another one. As we mentioned, the only other meeting between these two clubs this season. Leafs took a 3-1 lead thanks to Austin Matthews into the third period in Toronto, but had to win it in overtime.
Flyers have 8 shots in the second period. The Leafs have 9. And 3-1 Toronto lead after 40 minutes. Eilish Forfar coming along with Justin Cuthbert. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Big names, big deals. NFL free agency is here.
Sacked! Eaten alive! Chris Jones!
And NFL Radio is with you every step of the way with the latest news and transactions for all 32 teams.
Winning is kind of the ultimate piece, and that's really such a big part of it.
Find out which players will be signing deals with your favorite team in hopes of bringing home the Lombardi Trophy. Follow free agency on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM
and the Leafs Radio Network.
We're back on Local Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert here for Maple Leafs and Flyers. Leafs still holding on to a lead, but it's just moved down to a 3-1 lead after 40 minutes. That period was a little bit different. The first one was all Leafs, but the Flyers are putting a push back. They got one early in the period on a power play, only 13 seconds into that advantage. Owen Tippet with the goal, and then they kind of held a little bit of the momentum for the rest of that.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Felix Sandstrom coming in kind of changed the game just a little bit. Samuel Larson didn't look like he had it at all for Philly. Not to say that was like a prolific period offensively for the Leafs by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they didn't really get much done offensively. Just 7 shots in the period, but definitely things settled down with the goaltending change for the Flyers. Wonder if Torts was involved at all. He's supposed to be away from the team for 3 hours before and after. I'm not sure if it's after as well. But yeah, they made a good change with the patchwork coaching staff, making sure they go to the other goaltender because one looks more capable than the other, and that's the one who's going to come out for the third period.
Like, couldn't Torts just text people? Like, or is there a communication ban? Like, how does it work when you're suspended?
I think,
who's to
there's
say
no way you can stop texts, right?
Why can't he just be like at the hotel? Or I guess they don't need a hotel, but just out in the parking lot, be like, pull them.
I mean, he could be in a different country texting.
He could do whatever.
Rocky Tops if he wanted to. But yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty obvious, right? When that Timothy Lilligren shot went in. They didn't do it immediately, but a change needed to happen. But that doesn't mean the Flyers are going to get all the way back into this game. They scored 13 seconds into an early advantage. Owen Tippett with the goal. We were discussing actually in the pregame, like what Flyers fans should be most excited about. And there's a lot of good young players on this team. Maybe there's a couple goaltenders who can give you something down the line here. But I'm circling Owen Tippett. I think Owen Tippett's a really good hockey player. Definitely a guy that they want to build around, be at the centerpiece of this rebuild here. And Owen Tippett gets another one tonight. He's a pretty good goal scorer in this league. I think he was the return for Claude Giroux, if I'm not mistaken. A guy that's very, very important. And, of course, Claude Giroux wasn't all that impactful for Florida.
He was. I'm looking at it right now. Traded to Philly by Florida with a first-round pick in the either 24-25 NHL draft and a third-round pick for Claude Giroux and a couple other folks. He's got 39 points in 62 games this season.
Which definitely isn't much.
Well, I mean, it's also the Flyers haven't really been like the top of the leaderboard. They've been making a push here. He has gotten 1 point in his last 5 games, so maybe he's turning things on because he knows Justin Cuthbert.
So that was a big goal then.
Talking about, he needed that. He needed that.
Got to look past the numbers sometimes.
I would say, like, if this was a stat we could find, I think Philadelphia has the most amount of redheads that play on their team.
I was not expecting to say that.
It's true.
They've had some red beards for sure.
Redheads that
Scott Hartnell.
Think about it. Think of an iconic
Giroux.
Philadelphia Flyer. A lot of them are redheads.
So it's important then for Tippet to
he's got a big opportunity.
Carry on the tradition.
Armin's going to look it up for us. He's going to find every redhead that ever played in the NHL.
An important player for the Maple Leafs. Maybe not the guy who's going to be leading any rebuild, though, is Cal Yarncrook. And he went out in that period,
He's
tangled
blonde,
up. He is blonde. There's less of a tradition in Toronto, I guess. But yeah, a guy who missed a month with a broken knuckle. Looked like a bit of a looked like a dangerous play. Cal Yarncrook is pretty important to this team. He's a guy that kind of just fills any void that you may find in the roster when the likes of Mitch Marner are not available. So losing Cal Yarncrook again would not be good news for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It looked like could have been a stinger, could have been a shoulder, could have been a wrist. It could have been a lot of things. It was a dangerous play. So hopefully Cal Yarncrook's okay.
He's like the fix-it. You need a better PK. Put him in there. You want a better power play. You want something that's going to ignite this team. Boom. You need a guy to hop up in the top line, on the third line, the fourth line. He's pretty unique in what he does. Like, there's not another Maple Leaf that can do what he does. Kampf tries. Kampf isn't Cal Yarncrook, though. Yarncrook has more offensive power. He just seems to blend in really well when he needs to elevate his game and play on the top line. So haven't got like an official word on it. Looked like shoulder, as you said, looked like wrist, but he was really shaken up. So that's the last thing they need. They also have Mitch Marner out right now, of course. And if you missed the first intermission, we were talking about Marner having a high ankle sprain, not a severe one, a more of a mild high ankle sprain, but nonetheless still something to keep an eye on. This is his second game that he's missed, and they'll probably try to keep it as simple and, keep his return as delayed as possible. But if Cal Yarncrook's out, does that mean Mitch Marner's got to play Saturday night? I wouldn't want to risk it, but you're doing a lot of bodies. Nick Robertson?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we kickstart the Nick Robertson story. Once again, one more thing to keep an eye on, of course, is Ilya Samsonov. I mean, this guy's had a really good month of March. 914, a 960, a 935 he's rocking in this game, a 950. Those are really, really good numbers, and they coincide, of course, with Joseph Woll's return. This thing is not going to slow down. It's not going to get any simpler if Ilya Samsonov continues to play the way that he has. It's been a really, really good stretch for him. And despite not being overworked in this game, he's been really good again.
Producer Armin just sent me a link to BroadStreetHockey.com, which is like a Flyers blog, and they have an article that ranks the Flyers redheads. So I'm not off my rocker. That's a real thing that people have noticed. We will take a break. We will read that.
Oh, these are only current Flyers too.
Yeah, there's a lot of them on there.
It's like a long list.
I'm telling you, it's a real thing, okay? We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll give you our look around the NHL scoreboard and keep you up to date. Leafs up 3-1 after 40 minutes against Philadelphia Flyers. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deeks.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. All the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Williamsburg Green is everything you want in a community. Enjoy fabulous trails, parks, playgrounds, sports areas, and more. Our beautiful all-brick homes include luxury features you've always dreamed of, even a fully finished lower level. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute-truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Got it into the slot now for Knies. Who scores?
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs lead 3-1 after 40 minutes against the Philadelphia Flyers in Philly. Lots of games on the network, so let's take a look at what's going on the NHL scoreboard. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly.
Yep, 12 games in the NHL tonight. The Sabres beat the Islanders 4-0. It's 5-3 Lightning over the Rangers in a potential first-round meeting. A statement being made in Raleigh. 4-0 Hurricanes over the Panthers. Penguins have a 5-3 lead over the Sharks. It's 3-1 Coyotes over Red Wings. 2-2 Senators and Blue Jackets. And also a final in overtime. The Bruins beat the Canadiens 2-1. Still ongoing second period. Devils over the Stars 5-2. Ducks trailing 2-0 in Minnesota. The Golden Knights and Flames just getting underway, and the Capitals and Kraken still to come tonight.
This Eastern Conference playoff race is going to be interesting. Huge win for the Sabres. Islanders lost. Tampa Bay's up right now. Detroit and Philadelphia are both trailing. And things are not solidified. Obviously, the top two teams are basically set in stone, but there's going to be a little bit of shuffling there to keep an eye on it down the stretch.
Yeah, the Red Wings are leaving the door wide open.
Big time.
Wide open for the Islanders, the
6
Sabres.
straight losses, 7 even.
It's an awful stretch for them. And honestly, 2 weeks ago, I thought this is like a team to watch. You don't want to play the Red Wings, and yet they've completely fallen apart here.
Yeah, I think that would they lose tonight to the Sabres, was it? Or, sorry, who were they?
They're losing to the Coyotes 3-1. The Islanders lost to the Sabres, so that's a big 4-point game in a wild card chase.
There you go. Well, Flyers are kind of on the outside looking in as well. See if they can get back into this one. Maple Leafs lead 3-1. Samson's been playing pretty good. It's been a bit of a quieter second period. Leafs didn't get on the scoreboard, and Philly did get one to make things a bit closer. But this 20 minutes is important.
And it's been a feisty game from Austin Matthews. Something about Philly gets him a little bit more aggrieved than normal.
It's his, he's
kind of beaking with Garnet Hathaway a little bit. We'll see if there's a little bit more from Matthews and the Maple Leafs in the third.
All right, Joe Bowen and Jim Roth will have the call of the third period next. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let the shenanigans begin. St. Paddy's Day Radio returns with the greenest, liveliest, shamrockingest Irish music from the Pogues, U2, Dropkick Murphys, and more. St. Paddy's Day Radio taking over Channel 28 all weekend, and get a head start on the holiday with the essential St. Paddy's Day pub mix. Now on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
3-1 Toronto after 40 minutes of play. Bertuzzi from Matthews and Nylander. Holberg from Dewar and Riley. Lilligren from Bertuzzi and Samsonov. And we could have had Bertuzzi from Lilligren, except video review showed a nudge of the puck with a hand by Austin Matthews, and it was video review and no goal. Tippet has scored for Philadelphia, and we're underway with the third period. Riley, cross-ice pass, brought through center ice now by Toronto's Nyes, and he had it knocked off his stick. Fires back the other way to the left wing side, and Lawton has stood up at the blue line, and Nyes will try it again. Little more room down the right wing to his liking. Works down into the corner, stops it up, looks for a man out in front, stumbled with it, but got it back to the point. A shot then by Matthews was steered wide by Sandstrom. Flyers back in their own zone. Get it up on the wing for Cam York, and York will knife it down into Toronto territory. Leafs will chip it back into Flyers end. Holberg into the forecheck. He's up on a line here with Bertuzzi and Matthews as Yarncrook has not returned. Now here's Bertuzzi in front of the net, and it was deflected wide. Yet another glorious chance. Been the best player on the ice. Bertuzzi with it again. Into the slot area for Matthews. To the left wing side for Brody. He'll wrap it around the boards to Bertuzzi. Tried to center it, didn't work. He gets it again. Back to Brody, who'll play it around the boards. Matthews will track it on the near side. Back to the point to Lilligren. Lilligren back to Matthews, trying to shield it. Still with it as he's forced back towards the blue line. Back in for Pontus Holberg, trying to center. Holberg still with it. Bertuzzi trying to get to a loose puck. And it's cleared by Philadelphia to center ice. Collision in the center ice area there with Pontus Holberg and one of the Flyers. And I think it was it Hathaway again?
Yeah, I think it might have been Hathaway.
Played back into the Toronto zone. Lilligren back, swings it around the boards, but it's cut off by Philadelphia. Stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Nylander got it to the line, but not out. McCabe will try it again to send it back. Cut off again on the far side, this time by Frost. Frost gets it back to the point. Stoll with a shot that's right. Where's the rebound? It's in behind the net. Frost trying to cycle the puck along. Gets out of the scrum with it. Centers! Oh, what a chance Farabee had. And he launched it so far and high and wide of the net. It was lucky the rink kept it in. Here's Domi. Got a shot away, and that deflects, and that might have gone off the crossbar. Max gives it the... Ooh, that was close.
It sounded like there was a little bit of metal there, didn't there? Max Domi walked into the left wing circle and launched it. I'd get a replay again of the collision with Garnet Hathaway. And I think it might have been Pontus Holberg from the Leafs. They had the collision around center ice, and Hathaway looked like he was going to take a swipe at Holberg, didn't he? But may not have been 100% in doing so. And Holberg ended up with a pretty good scoring chance at the other end.
Draw scrummed. Pushed out at center ice by Philadelphia. They'll get it down into the Leaf zone. Gurianov sending it in there. Gurianov back at the net, trying to punch it along the boards, but Lyubushkin was on him as it comes back to the point. Zamula to the far side, and a shot deflected wide by Samsonov. Blue line area. Zamula keeping it in. Avenue to the net. Centers in. It goes off the stick into the corner. And it'll be lifted by Connor Dewart into one of the benches, I believe. So a face-off is coming back in the Toronto zone. 16:45 to play. Third period. 3-1 Toronto.
This is a good situation for the Flyers, and hopefully if they're able to get in and get some playoff experience. They've got 4 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts. Their own as well as Florida's first-round pick, 2024. That was part of the Claude Giroux trade that brought Owen Tippet to Philadelphia as well. They also picked up Colorado's first-round pick for taking Ryan Johansson's contract.
Nylander tripped and fell after getting a pass on the wing, and the Leafs finally are able to get it out, and it's Nylander now back on his skates, who got it ahead, and Nyes failed to get it in deep. Played back down into the Toronto zone. McCabe goes back to Brody for Nylander. Rink wide. McCabe to the right wing side for Tavares. Tavares swings the puck around back of the net to the far side for Nyes. Nyes had it knocked away, and out come the Flyers to center ice. Matthew Nyes is really struggling against the boards and trying to maintain possession.
Yeah, it's not lack of effort.
No, it's just tries to make one too many little moves with it maybe instead of being a little quicker. Flyers with it in their own zone. They'll bring it out into the neutral ice. Pontus Holberg chases after his man. So does Edmondson, who takes his man out and wipes him out on the end boards. Puck is free back at the net for Edmondson, and off a stick it rolls to the front of the net and is scooped up by Ilya Samsonov, who has faced 21 Philadelphia shots. Keeping Philadelphia under a 40-shot plateau is rather impressive because they are among the league leaders in getting opportunities with 40 or more shots.
When you go up and down the lineup, they've got, they don't have a 40 goal scorer. They've got a lot of guys, even on their fourth line, that are 15 to 20 goal guys.
They lead the NHL. They've done 40 or more shots 16 times this season. As the puck goes into the far corner, and Matthews will drop it back for Riley, who finds Lyubushkin, who gets it ahead. Lyubushkin was filled in, and now Matthews works in with a shot and scores! Austin Matthews is back! And Ilya Lyubushkin may not know where exactly he is. He took a huge hit to make a play, and Austin Matthews at least made the Flyers pay for it.
And Lyubushkin goes right to the Leaf dressing room. He went to the dressing room earlier and came back. But after taking that hit to make the play, to get it up ice, and eventually one pass later, Austin Matthews walks in alone on the left wing side. But this could be a costly game for the Leafs. Kelly Yarncrook has not returned for the third period. Lyubushkin goes to the penalty box, or the Leaf dressing room as well. And no penalty, I don't believe, was being called on that play. It was just an awkward position after passing the puck.
55th, there's another shot. Scores! Nylander! Right off the face-off, and this game is probably put to bed.
45 seconds. Austin Matthews scores his 55th.
First Matthews, and then seconds later, Willie Nylander walks in and snaps it, glove side. And this was after it looked like Nylander had overskated at the center off the faceoff, but was able to poke it past the Philadelphia defender, and then he ends up with the puck middle of the slot, staring down the Philadelphia goaltender, and Willie snaps it high over the glove to make it a 5-1 Toronto lead.
2 goals, 8 seconds apart, have blown this one open. And all of the goals have come in the net down to the right. Leafs get it out at center ice. Played in over the line. Nylander closing in with another chance, and it was knocked off his stick just as he toe dragged it in front of the goal.
Time 4 minutes 53 seconds.
So 2 goals, 8 seconds apart, and the Maple Leafs have blown this game wide open. 35th of the year for Nylander. And that has put the damper on things in Philadelphia, where the Flyers were 6-1-1 in their last 8 home games. Reeves gets it ahead at center. Joel Edmondson in across the line, tried to drop it back, but it's cleared out at center, and Dewar is there to play it even deeper back into the Toronto zone. Now Reeves at center shoots it into Flyer territory. Sandstrom gave the puck away and almost had an empty net by the time he got back into the cage, and the pass went astray. Joel Edmondson taken to the boards, but gets it for Dewar, and Dewar on the wing, and Lilligren gets it to center ice. Toronto 5, the Maple Leafs 1. Knocked down by Toronto. The Leafs play it out into the center ice area. Matthews hustling after it. 55 now in the jar. Matthews looking for another one in front of the net. Pontus Holberg got it to him. Sends it back to Brody. Brody with a pass back looking for Pontus Holberg, but it was in behind him and he couldn't redirect the puck. Flyers bring it back into the Leaf zone with Konechny trying to drive in front of the goal. And he does a good job of doing just that, but Samsonov is there to cover up. And then Bertuzzi has got Konechny in a bit of a headlock. Morgan Riley's in the middle of it. And a face-off will come in the Toronto zone.
Well, in case you were wondering, you said
I'm wondering.
8 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Is that a record?
Tonight it is.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out when we come back. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey.
The 5 goals is a record tonight as well.
Sportsnet 590, the Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
They say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. But March roars all this week on Sports Grid Radio as we get you ready for the NCAA tournament.
Look at what they did out of conference. This team is battle-tested across the board here.
Who's in? Who's out? Who will cut down the nets? And most importantly, which teams will cover the spread?
They are not legitimate to go on a Elite Eight or Final Four run at all.
Get the first look at the odds for every game on the Sports Grid Radio Selection Sunday Special. Sunday at 7 in the East on Channel 159 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Maple Leafs scored 2 goals in 8 seconds. And so now we have the Leaf book says...
Well, I think there might be a mistake with it. They say 4 seconds. The passes, Harley Conacher and Busher Jackson.
Wow.
December 29th, 1998 against the Quebec Nordiques.
Okay, and now, but...
No, I don't believe they played against the Quebec Nordiques.
Oh, right.
Or in 1998.
Okay, so
anyways,
that one's not there. We're taking that one off.
February 11th, Bob Nevin and Frank Mahovlich. 5 seconds apart, same as Miroslav Fricher and Craig Terrian. 5 seconds apart in 87. But
and Howie Meeker scored 2 goals on his own, 6 seconds apart in the 51-52 season.
Yeah, Leafs in the power play here.
Konechny went after Matthews And now the Leafs looking for more here as Tavares tries to get it in front of the net. It's cleared to the line and past Riley, and it's going to come out into the center ice area.
Looks like Eli Lyubushkin has returned to the Leaf bench.
Well, he's had a tough night, but he has shown some resilience, has he not? Back to the blue line. Riley working the line. Plays it off to Nylander. Gets it back. Nylander to the right wing side. Matthews back to Riley to Nylander. Tried to make a pass. I thought his stick broke, but he just banged on it. Al Riley with it once more to Tavares. He'll shoot it, and Sandstrom the blockered that away. Riley trying to keep a bouncing puck in and has. Fed off on the wing for Nylander. Nylander down low, centering pass for Nylander. Another shot whistled by Matthews. That went off a body in front of the net and has gone up into the screen out of play. 59 seconds left in the power play opportunity for Toronto with Konechny in the box.
Yeah, we've got 4 seconds, and this Armin sent me an update of this.
Okay.
It might be. The correct date. December 29th, 98, 4 seconds apart. Eddie Olchuk and Gary Lehman. But according to the Leaf media guide, Charlie Conacher, at the ripe old age of 72.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm 72. Really a ripe old age business, mister.
What's the stage after ripe?
Done.
Rotten?
The Flyers in over the line and got a shot away that was blocked by Lilligren. You know what? I'll take ripe.
For 400.
Brought it over the line by Domi and locked into the far corner. Leafs have blown this game open 5-1. Looking for more. Domi in. That was stopped. Sandheim trying to get it into goal crease. It's still free. It comes back into the slot. A shot by Lilligren blocked. Lilligren gets another one. That's blocked. Domi with it once more. They're looking in the corner. 2 of the Flyers, 3 of the Flyers don't have sticks. Near side in front. They score! Matthew Knies. I have never seen that. 3 Flyers were without sticks.
Well, shorthanded.
And I don't think all of them were broken.
This looked like a terrible skills competition at the All-Star game, where somehow you've got sticks laying all over the ice in front of the net. There's 1, 2, 3 without sticks. It was York that threw his away at the last minute.
Yeah, it was broken.
And eventually Jake McCabe makes the perfect pass across the top of the crease to Matthew Knies, who has his first power play goal of the season. So I guess first ever power play goal.
Yep. Regular season. Here's Camp getting it freed up. A lead pass gets to the blue line. Knocked down from behind with Reeves. And the Flyers will play it ahead for Couturier. In across the line. Tried to center it in front of the net, and it goes around back of the goal. And lost in a lot of this, Jimmy, is going to be the saves that Ilya Samsonov made in the first period. As the Leafs flip it down and flip it too far, actually, into the crowd out of play.
Yeah, we will be doing the Molson 3 stars after the game, and I will say that maybe Samsonov, barring a 3 or 4 goal finish by the Flyers, will be among them.
That was the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
Now, what are the odds of getting something like this?
I don't think it's a power play goal either, to be honest with you, because I do believe that
the player just came out of the box.
Came out of the box. So save that power play marker for a little bit later.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I apologize. 53.
Puck goes out of play once more.
7 seconds.
7 seconds there, because you could see him coming back into the fray. And the reason you noticed him, he had a stick in his hand. That was the most amazing series I think I've ever seen. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums
to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Take two in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Y'all ready?
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph and Armin Zagarian and Austin Mackey have been working diligently trying to figure out the fastest 2 goals in Leaf history. Have we got any clarification as of yet?
No, I mean, the Leaf media guy is wrong. Because Charlie Conacher did not play in 1998 against Quebec.
Sure.
I am. I'm willing to bet you on it.
Okay.
And I'll give you a 500 to 1 odds.
Really? Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I'm almost dumb enough to take it, but I'm not going to.
$1 million bet.
Yeah. Oh. Well, what are the chances of you seeing any of that?
500 to 1.
Yeah,
Think about it.
and across the line, the Leafs play it off on the right wing. Tavares knocking it to the side of the net. 9:21 left to go in the third period, and it is a 6-1 Toronto lead. Tavares circling in the corner, now goes around back of the goal. Had his stick lifted there by Eric Johnson. Got it up on the wing. The Leafs are going to keep it in as they fire it into the far corner. Tavares and Johnson renew hostilities in that corner, looking to try and kick the puck up against the boards, and it is finally grabbed off by Frost and backhanded out at center ice. Fired right back in again. And we talked about Ilya Lyubushkin, Ilya Samsonov, and it appears that this is going to stand up through the remainder of the third period. He would be 13-2-0 in his last 15 games.
Well, and even 11-1 against Philadelphia lifetime.
Yep. Icing call here against the Flyers. And Ilya Lyubushkin, who has left twice with a couple of hits, is right back at it. Flyers. You have people like that, and you're going to, I mean, it's just being a warrior, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming back. Never mind. I'm all right. Yep. It's the mindset that then can permeate a hockey team. I mean, if he's coming back, how can I not? How can I?
And I mean, players do have different thresholds for pain as well. Some guys, I mean, we know some Leaf goalies that have come through the years. If there's something a little bit off, they're not playing.
Yep.
And there are some guys. Remember Patrice Bergeron, turns out had a collapsed lung, separated shoulder when Boston got to the playoffs.
Puck down in the Toronto zone. Goaltender lost his stick. Flyers play it around into the corner. Knocked away. Still up against the boards. It comes back to the point. York over on the far side with a shot towards the net, and that deflects off a body and ends up in the screen. And Ilya Samsonov will get his true goalie stick back in his hands, and shot attempts now 55-48 favoring Toronto, 26-24 on goal.
Now we've talked a lot this year how the Leafs have not been very good on home ice. But here's something that's sort of a sneaky stat that's coming up. If the Leafs hold on to this win, it'll be their 20th win on the road. Their franchise record is 23. The Leafs will have 8 games left to break franchise record for road wins.
When was that last set?
Last set? I'll find it here in a sec.
All right.
03-04, 18-19, and 21-22.
Played in over the line now by Toronto. Here's Pontus Holberg trying to drive the net. Got it in front of the goal, and it bounced over Matthews' stick. Played through center ice by Scott Lawton. Turned over at the blue line, and Matthews circles back in his own zone. Matthews dropping it off. Lawton was shadowing him a little bit. And McCabe now waits for teammates to swing. Played ahead off the stick of Reeves and down into Flyer territory. And against the boards, Dewar trying to free it up. Did for Lilligren. Lilligren back into the corner. Connor Dewar steps out, but then had a roll off his stick and couldn't get a shot. Puck back into neutral ice is deflected back into Flyer territory. Flyers get it up on the left wing. Sean Couturier sending it high and down into Toronto territory. And a lot of the Flyer faithful have headed for the exits. Sent around the boards and into the near corner. 6:22 to play in the third period. A centering pass goes off a skate. And Reeves finds Domi, and Max Domi is away with one man back. Got a shot away, but that stick by Sandheim got in the way. And deflects it over the glass and into the screen with 6:11 to play in the third period. The Leafs will be home against Carolina on Saturday night, and they'll be wearing the St. Patrick's greens. The night before St. Patrick's Day, the proud tradition of the Irish association with the Maple Leafs named the St. Patrick's initially, and then Conn Smythe changed the name to Maple Leafs. The St. Pats won a Stanley Cup. Puck down in the Flyer zone. In against the boards. Grabbed off by Cam York. Played up on the wing. Labushkin was able to keep it in momentarily, but now the Flyers bring it back in over the line with York, and a shot going wide is gloved by Samsonov anyway. And that will stop play and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone. With 5 minutes and 48 seconds to play in the third. Toronto 6. The Philadelphia Flyers 1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Players' Championship is on Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92.
To the hole, could go, and it did! It did! You were waiting for the first birdie. There it is for Scotty Scheffler.
Live coverage from the stadium course at TPC Sawgrass continues tomorrow at noon Eastern.
The thing about 17, you're standing back there and you're going, this isn't really that hard. And it really isn't, except for the moment.
The Players' Championship is on Channel 92 in the car and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Radio Network.
The Leafs 6 and the Flyers 1. As the Maple Leafs attempt to win for the 38th time this season. And as you mentioned, Ralphie, they'll be the 20th time on the road this year. 84 points in the bank after the next 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Barring the greatest comeback in Philadelphia Flyer history.
I remember them coming back on the Leafs in the playoffs. No, you know what? It was the other way around. The Flyers came back and fought them. It was a 5-2 Leaf lead. That was during the Stanley Cup years, mid-70s, for the Flyers.
Face off in the Toronto zone to the left of Samsonov. And Domi, I think somebody slashed his stick and broke it, so he's got to go and get a new cue.
18 Philadelphia, 11 Toronto, both on 10-minute misconduct.
Oh, Hathaway and Domi.
Hathaway and Domi being thrown out.
Oh, all right. So it wasn't a broken stick. Hathaway has had his shorts in a knot a little bit here this evening. Is going to get the warm water and the dry towels, and so will Max Domi.
Philly gets a bit of a break with the New York Islanders losing today. Because the Islanders have two ways to get in. Obviously, top three in their division, but the wild card is there as well.
There's Nylander sending it down into the Flyer zone. Tripped along back of the net. It comes up on the right wing side. McCabe was able to keep it in. The scrum continues in the near corner. And the Flyers still can't get it out. And the Leafs are quite happy to just play it along the boards here and let the clock tick down. Finally, it's knocked into the Leaf zone. Gurianov with a shot that Samsonov may have taken that off the mask a little bit. He's up a little bit slower, but brought out at center ice nonetheless. And now Nylander will get it in on the backhand deep into Flyer territory with 5 minutes to play. Tippet gets it out at center ice. Matthews is there. Got it off on the wing, looking for a return pass, but it was intercepted, then stolen back by Joel Edmondson. Flyers trying to get a change and not have too many men on the ice, and now Edmondson is there to play it off on the wing, and Lilligren gets it across the line. Timothy Lilligren has had a pretty good game here this evening, a goal and an assist. Nylander and Matthews, a goal and a helper. Tyler Bertuzzi should have 2 goals and 1 assist. One was called back by video review. Ilya Samsonov, a strong game and goal. And Ilya Labushkin has played a lot with his heart tonight, let alone his physical size and ability. Tough picking 3 stars from all of that, Mr. Ralph.
I think you just did.
Well, I got them mentioned. I'm not sure which order you're going to have them.
Well, there's
and we're running out of 3.
4 players have a goal and an assist.
All right.
I'm only going to pick one of them.
Oh, all right.
Actually,
that makes it a little easier for me to maybe guess here, but I'm going to leave it to you.
Actually, reached out to my favorite hockey expert, my brother, who's listening in. And
winning percentage for the year. Ilya Samsonov, 716. Sergei Bobrovsky, 717. Now, that's because overall, Samsonov will be 18-5-6. And we forget that he was able to compile that despite going through a horrific stage in his career and the season.
Well, there were some Columbus games where he gave up 5.
Yeah,
where
but
he was
still,
horrible.
you know, what do you do? What do you want your goaltender to do? I want him to win games. Okay, well, he's done that. Puck along the boards in the Flyer zone.
The second part might be have a save percentage above 860.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, then that's the
second most important stat.
That's part 2. A pass by Holberg comes in front of the goal. Matthews or McMahon looking for a loose puck in front of the net. Can't. And now it's going to be brought out into the center ice area by the Flyers and diagonally shot into the Toronto end. Samsonov plays into the corner. Brody with time and space with a lead pass ahead for Nyes. Nyes shoots it in and then took a high stick in the yap from Cam York. And York's going to go to the penalty box with 2:49 left to play in the third period. So the Leafs will go to their 4th power play opportunity, and they lead 6-1, and they have not scored a power play goal.
No Max Domi. No Kelly Yarncrook. We're watching this again. And this says York stick riding up and catching Nyes in the face. Probably with the same intensity that Morgan Riley cut Ridley Gregg.
17-11 the time of the penalty. Played around the boards. Philadelphia will ice it. And Riley goes back to recover the puck and starts out. First power play unit is out there with Matthews, Tavares, Bertuzzi, and Nylander. In across the line. Leafs get it into the slot area. Nylander on the far half board stops it up. Back to the point to Riley, now to Matthews. He wound up but didn't shoot it. Back to Riley, to Nylander. He'll shoot it. And that was deflected, but now settled down by Riley. But they're going to say he settled it with a high stick.
Well, that was an incredible. It was almost like he reached up and cradled it on
like
a stick blade, and then dropped it. I think one of the reasons you saw the big boys out on the power play in a 6-1 game, I don't think it's any kind of disrespect to the Philadelphia Flyers. Leaf power play hasn't been very good of late. So I think that's the reason, and especially in this game. I mean, Matthew Nyes scored at the end of a power play after 3 sticks were broken by Flyer defenders.
The second group has Lilligren leading the rush with Dewar, Reeves, and in across the line, Pontus Holberg. Dropping it back, Lilligren to Dewar. Connor Dewar holds top of the circles. Back to the far side for Lilligren. Down into the corner it goes. Centered in front with a quick shot taken by Pontus Holberg. And that is swallowed up by goaltender Sandstrom of the Flyers and held. Then the danger is you put guys who have never been on the power play, right? You don't want to embarrass the team. Yeah, well, never mind. You've got these guys who have never been on the power play. What do you think they're going to try to do?
Yeah, now we got Ryan Reeves maybe mixed up and some pushing and shoving, but with Garnet Hathaway gone, I don't know what's.
Yeah, and they didn't dress Delorier either. Face-off coming in the Flyer zone, and won by Toronto. Back to the point it comes. Lilligren traps it over on the left wing side, and a broken stick. And the Flyer player is able to steal one and then trips up Lilligren. And the Flyers are going to get a great scoring chance and score. After an obvious trip. Yeah. And I realize now the score at 6-1, the officials are kind of letting things ride. But Ilya Samsonov can't be happy with that.
Well, they're still going to go against the save percentage and goals against. The referee's right there, and he sees it. And it's Sean Couturier, after losing the puck, gets it right under the skate blade.
This is another shorthanded goal?
Yep.
15 on the season.
Second against the Leafs in 2 games.
Wow.
So again, now you can't be upset who's on the power play, because it's like you're still trying.
Yeah.
They get the short-handed goal, but it's unfortunate because, like I said, save percentage is really something that Ilya Samsonov's trying to improve on, and stopping 26 to 27 is way better than 26 to 28.
The 17th of the season.
17th goal of the season for Forrester. And for Forrester, that's his first shorthanded goal. And for the Flyers, their 15th.
48 seconds.
And they bring it in on the right wing now with Sandheim trying to get it in front. The Leafs will play it out with less than a minute to go in the third period. And it'll be brought in by Sandheim. He works to the left wing side, sent it into the slot area, knocked back for Frost. His shot went well wide of the goal. Chopped at by Bertuzzi, and it'll carry him all the way down the ice. And the linesmen have decided to slow things up, and there'll be a face-off coming after the icing. So things are tightening up in the wild card race. Buffalo has found their way back into it with 69 points. Washington 69. Detroit falling fast with 72. And the Islanders have 72. It's going to be an interesting last couple of weeks.
Boy, and for Buffalo to suddenly be back into it is incredible.
Absolutely. Bertuzzi gets it down into the offensive zone. Couldn't get it in front. Final 10 seconds to tick down. And the Leafs will play it back into their own zone. And Brody forced back behind the net. 3 seconds left. And that will do it. A workmanlike road win for the Maple Leafs as they dismantle the Philadelphia Flyers by a score of 6-2. And our Molson 3 stars are coming your way.
All right, see if you agree with this. Third star, I'm going to go Ilya Lyubushkin. You mentioned that he also led the Leafs in hits on the night. And for Lyubushkin, total ice time ended up at, it keeps moving now on the screen, doesn't it? Anyway.
16:08.
Yeah, left the game twice with injuries, came back, star number 3. Ilya Samsonov, star number 2. As much as we can talk about, how the Leafs sort of gutted this one out without Mitch Marner, they lose Kelly Yarncrook early. Ilya Samsonov, the difference of this game is goaltending. Even though the Leafs might have been given some opportunities a little more than the Flyers have. And now I'm going to ask you to pick the first star because you have 4 guys with a 2-point night. Pontus Holberg, Austin Matthews, Timothy Lilligren, and Tyler Bertuzzi.
I thought Bertuzzi may have played one of his best games as a Leaf.
And let's go Bertuzzi number 1.
He should have had 2 goals and 1 assist. And the play he made, batting that puck into the air, redirecting that was just a real piece of skill.
If he finds out we picked him a star, I'm sure it'll make him feel better.
I'll send a note. I know enough of the Bertuzzis in Sudbury to get it to him. At any rate, the Maple Leafs win it by a score of 6-2. We'll ship things off to Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert with the post-game show and invite you to join us on Saturday night for the St. Patrick's Day game at Scotiabank Arena. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Major League Soccer is back, and you can hear Miami's magisterial one in action on Sirius XM FC. Messi! Whenever Lionel Messi hits a sumptuous pass. Are you kidding me? Scores a world-class goal. Produces a moment of pure magic for Inter Miami. Magisterial, Lionel! You'll hear it on your home for MLS, Sirius XM FC 157, and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolies and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune in to Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter Miami game.
Messi up overhead!
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's Holy Grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Light road win for the Maple Leafs as they dismantle the Philadelphia Flyers by a score of 6-2.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. You heard it there from Bonesy, a 6-2 domination station from the Maple Leafs in Philadelphia, and it'll be the first of two meetings between them in the next couple days. So the way that ended with Rocky Thompson and Keefe going head-to-head on the benches, he had a bolo tie on, and that was a fun ending to that game. I think they won't forget that when they see the Leafs on Tuesday.
Yeah, suddenly Leafs talk, a little bit more interesting. The show next week, a little bit more interesting after a bit of a interesting third period. It was kind of trending towards being a bit of a dull one, but the Maple Leafs break out offensively, and then there's a little disagreement on the benches, and then the Flyers get one after Keefe actually does what Rocky Thompson wants him to do.
So funny.
So yeah, a little bit interesting in terms of storylines and intrigue leading to next week after what was a pretty academic game between the two teams tonight.
It was pretty good. Samsonov gets just 2 against him. I think the biggest question now will be, will he get another chance to carry the net into Saturday night against the Hurricanes? Who knows with the way this has been back and forth and all over. Maybe Joseph Wall gets in there and Samsonov sees the Flyers again next week. Feels like maybe we're at a good spot where you can't really go wrong because both goalies are doing okay, which has been the opposite of sometimes where you have no opportunity to put a goal in net. So maybe we just feel happy that they're all doing all right now.
Yeah, the Maple Leafs have been far worse positions, but right now they got 2 goaltenders. I wouldn't say like they're on top of their games at the moment. Samsonov's playing really well, though, and Joseph Wall, of course, has a lot of backing and is going to have the opportunity, we believe. So, yeah, we'll continue to watch that storyline develop.
Okay, before we send it to Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee, we'll take one last look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly.
Busy night with a couple real consequential results. Let's start with that. The Sabres beating the Islanders 4-0. They are on a tear. Hurricanes beat the Panthers, a statement game, 4-0. Coyotes continue the Red Wings free fall, beating them 4-1. Lightning get a 6-3 victory over the Rangers. Elsewhere, Penguins 6-3 over the Sharks. 3-2 Senators beat the Blue Jackets in a shootout. Bruins get a 2-1 victory over the Canadiens. Devils currently leading the Stars 5-2 late. Ducks and Wild are in the third period. Wild have a 2-0 lead. Golden Knights and Flames still scoreless, but midway through the game and just getting underway in Seattle. The Kraken and Capitals are going at it tonight.
All right, lots to break down from a 6-2 victory for the Maple Leafs. They'll be back on home ice on Saturday night against the Carolina Hurricanes, a big one for Hockey Night in Canada. We'll say goodbye and send it to Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee. Thanks for listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let it rip.
It is after the game. The Leafs have destroyed the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that's 7 straight wins for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Eight straight wins for the Toronto Maple Leafs. An absolute laugher. I got to tell you, man, I love the Leafs beating the Flyers. I don't think there's any amount of times they could beat them in a row to cover up the trauma of the Jeremy Roenick goal from our youth. One of the worst moments of our childhoods. But there is something sweet about beating the brakes off the Flyers. Like, they loaded up what do you think about the loading up of the power play to close the game twice? Twice the Leafs did it.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, actually.
Yeah, okay.
First of all, Rocky Thompson is a scary son of a gun, and wearing a bolo tie underneath a sweat jacket, or what would you call that? Like a startup jacket?
Yeah, it's a real tough
It's
guy.
That takes a special breed to pull that off. Yeah. And I don't know if you want to pull up his Hockey DB page. There was a lot of disagreements that he got into over his career. The way he's looking over there, Keefe looked incredibly scared. He took off the top unit immediately. And then it was like Connor Dewar was right out there. So I think that you're eligible to put them on the ice. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of a unwritten rule that you don't. But at the same time, like, if you're saying that the game is over and you quit, it's hard for them to go down and score. Like, if we're all agreeing that nobody's trying anymore, then to go down and score a shorty like 2 seconds later, you kind of broke the code there, Flyers. So I don't really know what the
you think the Flyers broke the code on scoring?
They're just like you have to not try now. You have to stop trying in the National Hockey League game. And then as soon as they stop trying, they go down and score a goal.
No, I don't agree with that. I think that if anything, you've now incentivized the other team where they're going to try harder.
Obviously.
They're going to try and go and score a goal. My thought on it is I actually like it. I don't mind it from the Leafs. They're going to play these guys again Tuesday. There's a little bit of attitude between these two teams. There always has been. Konechny was a bit of a no-show in this, but he's had a career against the Leafs. He's tried to make a name for himself against the Leafs. Matthews doesn't like him. Keefe doesn't like him. And they've dominated them. Flyers are in the mix for a playoff spot, and the Leafs kind of put them down, put them in their place. I don't mind you leaving the power play unit out there, but this is the same team that got real hot and bothered about the Ottawa Senators slapping one into an empty net when it comes to the unwritten rules of the game. And so I just think if you're going to play that game,
that's a tough comparison to me.
If you're going to play that game of leave the top power play unit out there, then I think you got to be prepared for one of your stars to get a little lumber. And they were lucky to escape that. And I think that's the major reason that Keefe got those guys off the ice, is because he was like, oh boy, Rocky's going to send a psycho out there and just carry.
Rocky might put on his skates himself and go out there.
Yeah.
Rocky might jump the boards, bolo tie and all, just flying out there in his jeans looking to bury somebody.
Why couldn't we get more Rocky cam?
Because I don't think they wanted to take away. That was like a big mistake from the producer for me, not to be Mr. Critical of the broadcast, but it's 6-1. Like, who cares? The result is not in question.
Yeah.
Immediately go over to the benches. I want to see what's going on over there at the benches. He's whining, he's crying. Like, I don't want to hear like, oh, you got to work on your power play and all this stuff. And like, you got to practice this before coming to, the playoff time.
There's nothing.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
He's trying to show him up.
Yeah.
They've been punching him in the face. They've been scrumming all game. That was a direct show him up move. Yeah. And if you're into that sort of thing, don't mind it. I really don't. It's a professional hockey league. But on the other side of it, if I'm the Flyers, I'm screaming at him. I am Rocky Thompson if I'm the other side of it. So I liked it from both sides. I think it was a reasonable response from both sides. I really do.
Yeah, dude. I like.
I know that's not the most electrifying take, but like, loved both sides.
I bitch all the time about there not being enough hate in pro sports anymore. And the broadcast is talking about the old Flyers days, right? And the 10-minute misconduct because Domi gets a little cute with Hathaway where they're just, doing little taps. They're just having a little tap time at the end of the game. A little tap time, nothing major, just a touch. And you see that and I go, good. And now maybe something weird will happen at the beginning of next game. Maybe there's a scrap at the beginning of next game. I'm all for it. I love hate between teams. I think this is the kind of stuff that helps build rivalries. And to me, I want more of that in the game, not less of it. So good on everybody involved.
For sure. Agree.
Yep.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Boys. The agree
too
boys.
bad. Well, I mean, it's hard to have a zag on that. Like to push back and be like, you know what? Sheldon Keefe is, in the wrong here, or they're really in the wrong for getting that. They're both.
This isn't minor sports. If this is youth sports and you put the top power play out and you're hammering a team 5-1, then I think you got to wait for the opposing coach. The other parents should wait for the opposing coach in the parking lot and have their way. But that's not this. This is pro hockey, so I love it.
If you're Dale Hunter, the London Knights, with putting Corey Perry over the boards when they're up 12-4 against the Yonsan Attack, it's a different story. But you might, great, no wonder, no wonder he's so loved everywhere. Anyways.
Oh, now you're all Mr. Sportsmanship. Hey, you want the sportsmanship. What's the difference between 12-1 and 13-1, you losers? You get buried by the London Knights anyway.
It was actually 12-4. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, way to go. You guys did it. Yeah, way to go. Scored 25%. Okay, so the Leafs, they kick their teeth in. Where do you want to start?
There's a lot of different places that you can start.
I think we start just in the first period. I think that's the game to me. I thought that the Leafs came out and they had a little bit of jump. They played a solid game. Samsonov made some saves in the first, and they gave themselves a cushion that they were able to kind of play with the entire game. Like that was sort of the story of the game to me, is that they've owned this team. They beat this team, and they've used kind of a similar formula over and over again. And I thought the top line was buzzing, and Samsonov played well in the first, and that was basically the story of the game.
To me, Bertuzzi, as bad as he was on Saturday night, he was as good tonight.
Yeah,
I thought he was really, really good with Matthews. I just thought there was a really, they showed a little bit of chemistry. Seemed like he was going to the right spots like this. That's a great pass from Matthews. One touch on the stick for Bertuzzi. And the great crime of this game, when it ends up being 6-1, is that Tyler Bertuzzi's tip in the first period did not count. Because, that is one of the great skill plays I've seen in a very long time. Like that.
Before you do that though, can we just break this play down for a second? Because we're playing the first goal of the game from the top line. And I just thought that they came out and they were great. And this is also a good play by Bertuzzi. Like he hustles the puck down, gets it over to Nylander, who smartly gets on the ice. Matthew stays a little bit longer. I thought that he actually had an opportunity to get off, and he stayed for the cookie. He was right to do it, and he ends up ripping it home. But yeah, you're right. The play of the game is the Bertuzzi tip.
Yeah. But so it's funny because Bertuzzi was talked about this morning by Keefe. He talked at length about him playing with Matthews and what he needs to see from him playing for Matthews. And he basically was just like, he's just got to be himself. Do what he usually does, and that's a good fit for guys that play alongside Matthews. Going to the front of the net, digging out pucks, doing things that star players like on their line. And I would say that he's an upgraded grunt, if you will. Like he's got a bit of skill, but he's willing to go into those puck battles, go to the front of the net, do that kind of stuff. And that's what he did tonight. And it's nice to see him get talked about and then have that response. So it was the tip clip. I don't know. If we're going to run that, it was an unbelievable play. It doesn't count. It's one of the nicer plays that I've seen a Leaf make this year. It's just a full baseball swing, kind of. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's a full baseball swing out of the air. And is that what it was?
Yes. Yeah. It's a chop. It's a beautiful play. When it happened, you and I immediately started texting with one another going, oh my God. You know what I thought though? You couldn't tweet, because I loaded up a tweet that said, that is an incredible tip. And I was like, all you're going to get is that's what she said off of that. That is all you're going to get.
I believe Mr. Bertuzzi once wore a shirt that said something along the lines of that. Well,
did he really?
With the sleeves cut off. Yeah. You've never seen that?
No. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Sheesh is right.
Mike Jose. Yeah,
Mike Jose, no way, Jose.
Yeah,
amazing play.
How?
I don't know. I truly don't know. I don't know. I watched.
The crazy thing too is the reaction. His teammates are losing it, obviously, but he's just kind of a little stoic about it.
Well, that's
look at where he is when he gets in position. He just reads it all the way and bang. He's just he sees it the entire way. That's wizard stuff. That is magic. Gets
That
it
is-
across the body, tips it into the net. Lovely. Like
I actually think that
he
is
can't believe it there with the Tiger fist pump. Like he's looking back in the net being like, I really got that. I really nailed that puck. That really went in.
if that counts, if that is it's a top 10 goal of the year.
Oh,
for sure.
Without a doubt.
That is in, like, whenever Sportsnet puts together their top 10 goals of the year montage, that is 100% in it. The amount of skill that goes in, and some luck. Let's not joke. There's some luck that goes into that.
I guess,
for him
but
to
it's just
swim it across his body. And this is what he does. This is what Bertuzzi does when he's at his best. Is I could watch that all. It's unbelievable.
I know this is a truly you could watch this over and over and over again. It's mesmerizing. It really is mesmerizing. This should just be Leafs talk. When we put this thing up, don't say it's Leafs talk. Just say it's the highlight of that goal and trick people into watching this, because I would want to see that over and over and over again. If Matthews doesn't make the hand pass, then I think that goes down as one of the nicest goals of the Leafs season. You play on the same team as Austin Matthews. And you have to do it. You have to call that. What are you talking about? There's no call.
No, it is.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't like he didn't really advance it. It just
So
hit his
you are
hand.
going to say it's like a controversy.
No, like it's like, I think, you can't have gray area with a hand pass if it hits his hand and then goes to you can't have gray area, but he didn't advance
black
it.
and white. It's black and white.
I also think if the rule should be that if it changes possession after, that should automatically end that. I think if the Flyers have a chance, and I felt the same way when this got called against the Flames, when they had this call against the Flames, like if there's a certain amount of time goes by, to me, there has to be a thing of limitation, a statute of limitation.
I'm not doing that.
It's too long. Like it's like the offside thing to me, where it's offside on the entry and then it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes in the zone, and then they come back and call it back. I hate that stuff. It just doesn't have any bearing on the play.
It doesn't matter. Every time people do this, they only do it when the play goes against their team, and then they go, we need to make the rules even more complicated so that we can make the review.
It happened to the Flames. I was arguing that one too.
I'm not saying that it's not like anytime we do this with review where you add more layers to it, it never works. The more black and white it gets, the better. I know spirit of the rule. I feel the same way with offside. Sometimes you're like, that's against the spirit of the rule. That hand pass, I don't think that's spirit of the rule. That's a guy who like reaches out a little bit, touches a puck for half a second, doesn't have too much of a consequence. That has no consequence really on the entire play. Who cares? Let it go. But to me, if you're going to have review, you got to make sure that you take as much interpretation out of the hands of other people as possible and make it black and white. What I think is kind of interesting now is like, it seems as though whenever there's a review, it used to be like goaltending reviews were the ones where it was, goaltender interference. Now, whenever they blow the whistle, if it's going to be a review, you automatically know it's not a goal.
Yeah.
Like it's done. It doesn't matter anymore.
I texted you. I was like, "Oh, this is coming." I was like, "This is coming back," and you're like, "Let's see." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Let's see." It's obviously coming back.
You know why I said "Let's see"?
I know.
It's because I was so heartbroken that it was going to come off the board because it was such a beautiful goal.
I know.
Like I'm texting with you. I'm texting with my brother. I'm texting other. Like I wanted that. That was amazing. That was an incredible moment for one of the final 20 games of the year. A random Thursday night 7:30 puck drop where they're gonna beat the brakes off a crappy Flyers team who somehow is in a playoff spot. Like I don't understand because they're horrible.
They're missing their whole decor. Like they traded Sean Walker for a first round pick. They don't have Rasmus Ristolainen who's hurt. They don't have Jamie Drysdale who's hurt.
Yeah,
like they're playing guys you've never heard of. They got rookies back there. Eric Johnson, who they just traded for. Their whole decor is banged up. They're clearly a smoke and mirrors team that, John Tortorella is getting the most out of a hardworking group here. But it's pretty clear to me that if they keep running out that roster, it's like the bottom of the Eastern Conference is pretty crappy right now. But if they keep playing the way they're playing right now, I think they'll be on the outside looking in when all's said and done. No, like it just, they lack talent. They lack anything on the back end. Their goaltending situation doesn't look great. I don't like a whole lot about that squad tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I tweeted that this was a easy bet night if you were a Leaf fan because they dominate the Flyers and the price was weird. But yeah, the Flyers didn't do anything.
What was the price?
Minus 118 Leafs.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a way heavier line than that. Anyway, so yeah, Leafs win. The other part of the first period, I mentioned it kind of in passing. Don't have to spend a ton of time on this because, I feel like all we do is talk goalies now. And I think it's pretty clear they're just going to have a split. And it's going to continue to be a split as close to 50-50 as it gets. I didn't think Samsonov had like an incredible game by any stretch, but I thought the first period was his best period. And Mike, if you can run the highlights of kind of the couple saves that he makes early on in this game, like Philly had an opportunity to be in it. And there's this one, and then there's a cross crease play that he makes where it's not the greatest shot, to be honest. Like it kind of goes right into his body, but he makes himself big. He gets in a good position. He makes a good save. Yeah, I think he had 10 stops in the first period. It was his best period. He let the Leafs settle in, and then they dominated from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, he really did let in one tonight. The shorty at the end where they all had the second unit out who would quit. That's one on his leg he didn't need to have. Like I said after last game, and I'll say it again, starting goalie caliber night for Samsonov, where you're just makes the ones he's supposed to make,